5. What stands out?
I think what stands out is there was desperation in that 7-game win streak where maybe there isn't that now. I mean, they are playing more physical. There is more of a push and a focus to kind of play playoff-style hockey. But as we know, especially with the core of this team over the last 5 or 6 years, if there isn't a push from a team below you or above you, they just kind of sit back and kind of coast towards the end. Perhaps one of the worst things about the situation they find themselves right now in the division is that they're 8 or 9 points above and below the next team around them. So they really have to kind of manufacture some sort of desperation to continue to play the way they were against Boston. And some of these teams are lowly teams that are coming up. So I'm curious to see how they're going to kind of push it. I think it's just throwing their weight around. You ask some of these other guys. We talked to Matthew Nyes off camera earlier today, and he mentioned that there's more of an emphasis to kind of make sure you're that relentless type, that a player coming after you knows that they're going to see you in the rearview mirror all the time and you're not going to let up. And I think that's really the message around the team is just because you are where you are and you're trying to preserve yourself, you really have to continue to play desperate hockey. And I think that that's been the message from Sheldon Keefe in terms of what they did in that 7-game winning streak and trying to carry that over to make these games meaningful and perhaps challenge for maybe another higher spot in the playoffs here.
David, thanks for your time. Enjoy the game.
All right, you got it, guys. Thank you.
That's David Alter from the Hockey News. I just think it's fascinating. I'm just going to sort of jump in on what he said at the end there. I mean, the Boston problem's not going to go away. Do you solve that at the trade deadline? Well, you could add to it. Sooner or later these things end. And I really like how the Leafs push back. I know they lost the game, but if you had to relive that second goal Boston got, I don't know if if there's not a turnover at the blue line, if the goalie makes the save, I think that game goes in a different direction. And it's obviously the enemy is known, so you can chip away at them. I'm not as gloomy as some people might be.
No, neither am I. I mean, you look at this Boston team, and they're not what they were, right? They've been really impressive, and you can point to a lot of things that do impress you about this team. The fact that you can lose a player of the caliber and stature of Patrice Bergeron, the fact that you can lose a Krejci, and then you think about all the other guys that walked out the door after last season when they rewrote the standard for a regular season campaign in the terms of Nick Foligno and Taylor Hall and on down the line. They lost a lot of really important players. And they're still, they're still firmly ensconced in second place in the Atlantic Division, doing what they're doing. But all that said, they're thin. They're thin up the middle. They're not as impressive as they have been in the past when Pavel Zacha is your number one center, even though Pavel Zacha took it to the Maple Leafs in the past week. They're not some unbeatable force. And you're right. They are a bully. And the fact that the Leafs stood up to that bully in the most recent loss in Boston Garden, I think is important because you're right. Like that's going to be the tone of a playoff series. We know how Boston operates. We know how they attempt to get under your skin and wear you down in the course of a best of 7. And you've got to push back because if you don't push back, they know they got you. But this is also a Boston team, let's face it, that's got its own skeletons. They blew a 3-1 lead after a President's Trophy record-setting year. They lost in the first round last year. So you talk about the Maple Leafs being cursed in the playoffs. I mean, that sounds like the definition of cursed, a team that blew what they blew last year against Florida. So it's not an unbeatable force. This is a team they can get to, but they've got to bring the intensity.
Yeah, I just think it coincided with the trade deadline, and everybody thought they'd get the answer at the deadline. Maybe they did. We won't know. We'll set up the opening face-off for you next. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Unhibernate, a verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I just helped Tom with a business loan. He needed to soup up his mechanic shop. Not to brag, but I once modified a car to match my ultra speed. It went so fast, it broke the speed of sound. At least no one was inside. I hope no one was inside. I guess I'll just stick to approving business loans.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Ugh, I need a vacation.
What kind of vacation?
A relaxing one.
Vacations are relaxing.
Yeah, but I want one that's about peace and tranquility, where I can be one with nature. Oh, and somewhere where I can read a book without seeing someone creating one of those meme dances.
Try Cayo Largo, Cuba. It's a beautiful, secluded island with natural beauty, and it's quiet.
Oh, I like the sound of Cayo Largo. Cuba is Unica.
Book with your local travel agent or...
New players in, one big gun out, and in Montreal against the Habs. Always interesting and close on a Saturday night in Montreal for the Leafs. So many questions. How will the blue line look with Big Edmondson? How about up front with the newly acquired Dewar centering the fourth line? But the biggest question is, how will this Leafs team decide its own fate in the stretch run? Chapter 1 tonight. Let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Oh, yes, they do. Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs hockey on a Saturday night. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Star with you. Joe Bone and Jimmy Ralph standing by, getting their accounts and descriptions in order. The starting lineup is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it. And get this, here are the line combinations tonight. Matthews centering Nylander and Bertuzzi. Marner is out. Tavares centering Yarncroke and Domi. Cam centering McMahon and Nyes. Dewar, the new guy, centering Reeves and Holmberg. And on the blue line, Brody McCabe, Riley, Labushkin, Edmondson, and Liljegren, and Sammy starts in goal. There's a lot to unpack there, Dave.
Yeah, there certainly is. And it's been a while since we've seen the Montreal Canadiens, Jim. It was way back in Game 1 when the Maple Leafs were down 5-3, and they needed some heroics from Austin Matthews, who provided the hat trick, and they won in a shootout. This is Game 64, so it's been some time, but a lot has changed since, man. And it's going to be exciting here down the stretch run.
Absolutely. So let's unpack the lines. It's interesting to see Bertuzzi move up. It's also fascinating to see Domi move over on the left side with Tavares back on the centering the second line and Yarncroke with him. I mean, there's a lot right there.
Yeah, I mean, Tavares back on the second line, really his rightful place and his ideal place in a lot of ways, and we'll see how it goes. We know Max Domi has had his defensive struggles at times, but can provide a spark and certainly can provide offense at his best. So that combination has potential. I know Sheldon Keefe obviously hopes that without Marner, who's such an igniter of this offense, they can supply enough offense in the top six with Domi, Tavares, and Yarncroke as the second option.
And on the bottom six, Camp with McMahon and Nyes. So Nyes drops down, and everybody thought there may be an injury on Thursday night in Boston with a collision with Marchand, but apparently he's good to go.
Yeah, although albeit in a sheltered role here, which seems to make sense. Why throw him into the fray here? Let's ease him back into competition alongside Camp and McMahon. And, I think it's going to be really fun to watch Connor Dewar tonight. I've heard a lot of reports that he is a Energizer Bunny type of presence who really loves to disrupt it on the forecheck and get in the under the opposition's skin on the penalty kill. So he should be something to watch tonight, the new addition from the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, and so he has experience with Reeves, who will be on his right side. And I think when you look at the three acquisitions going back to Labushkin is familiar here. Dewar works with Reeves and is really a needed influence on the Leafs roster. And Edmondson brings that size that obviously already called the best defender on the blue line by his new coach. I mean, when you look at the fit of those three guys, maybe not the three guys you were after, but they do fit in nicely.
They do. Look, I mean, we heard Marty St. Louis, who knows Edmondson well. Obviously, Edmondson spent some time in Montreal, and he called him a big presence both on the ice and in the dressing room. And he also said that as much as, we heard Sheldon Keefe saying, you're right, Joel Edmondson's going to be the best defender that we have in front of our own net. Marty St. Louis was making the case that he can provide some offense, make that first pass, get the puck moving in the opposite direction, which, of course, is always a nice addition to a net-clearing defenseman. So, high hopes for Joel Edmondson to help this Maple Leaf team iron out its defensive game.
So let's go to the blue line because, this is sort of an adjustable situation. I don't know exactly how this is going to end up, but as I said tonight, it's Brody McCabe, Riley Nebushkin, Edmondson and Liljegren, and Benoit's out, which we already detailed nicely in the earlier part of the pregame. A very tough call for the coach to remove him when he's in his home area and based on how well he's played, but you have to get a look at the other guy, the new guy in town. But those pairings, do you think that's how they end the season like that?
Well, there's so many different options here, right? We haven't even talked about Mark Giordano, who could come back in. Connor Timmins could possibly come back in. Simone Benoit's a guy they want to have in there, but it does come down to this left shot, right shot balance, right? Brody McCabe, 2 lefties. Riley Nebushkin, you have a left-right. Edmondson Liljegren, you have a left-right. But as David Alter was saying in the previous segment, Jim, and I completely agree in a lot of ways, this is on Timothy Liljegren, because he right now he's in the lineup because he shoots right, and that's sort of not the best reason to be in the lineup. You want to be in the lineup because you're really good at your job, and he hasn't been particularly good at his job, especially in these last 6 games. We talked about the fall off after the 7-game win streak when everybody was good on the Maple Leafs and they were really humming. These past 6 games, I think Liljegren, when he's been paired with Brody especially, has really been a guy who's struggled out there and trying to find that line between providing the offense that he can provide, but also not making the big mistake that ends up in the back of the Toronto net, which has been the reason why Sheldon Keefe made him a healthy scratch on game 1 of the playoffs a year ago.
Yeah, this is a guy who's they've been patient with, has developed nicely, but has to take the next step. And, quite frankly, it's not on Brad Treliving because he wasn't here, but it is on the previous regime. They drafted a lot of defensemen. You and I have talked about this before. And Liljegren is really the only guy they have to show for it.
Yeah, and we all know he's got the potential to do it, right? Like he at his best, he's everything you want. He can really skate it. He's got some skill. He sees the ice well. Physical guy, good body, big tough body, not afraid to take or give a hit. But again, it does come down to sort of the mental processing of the game and allowing it to slow down and not making those hasty decisions that lead to big turnovers at bad moments and that's what he's got to. And also, and let's face it, something maybe Joel Edmondson will help him with. Figuring out that there are opponents in front of your net and taking care of them has not been a strength of Timothy Liljegren, and it's got to become one because just too often we've seen opposing players hanging around the net when Samsonov and Joe Wall look bad, when really it's the defenseman that should be clearing those guys out and not allowing these point-blank chances.
Well, and I know Ralphie and Bonesy will jump all over this. They'll talk about it a lot in the course of the game, regardless of, depending on how the scoreboard shows. But this is another example of where the Leafs just simply have to take care of their own business.
It is. It's on the Leafs, and I think that's really the best thing you can say about Brad Treliving's approach to the trade deadline. It's a loud statement, and the statement says, you guys in there. It's not saviors coming in from outside. It's the guys inside the room that need to take care of the business in these final 19 regular season games and on into the playoffs. You've had your chances. You're not young anymore. This is year 8 of the Matthews-Marner era. Now is the time, and you are the guys.
And it's an easy narrative to, based on the 2-4-1 losses to Boston, to sort of push them aside. But, when I look at this lineup, going back to the 7-game winning streak where they showed all kinds of different ways to win, and they just had an air of confidence about them, and coaches said this is the template. They could easily become that in the playoffs. Not saying they will, but they could.
Well, you got to hope. Look, if you're being very optimistic, and I think you should be with this team because they give you reasons to believe that they have a lot in them, the optimistic view is, hey, they've shown they can do it. That 7-game stretch where they won them all, they were a plus 21 goal differential. They were the highest scoring team in the league and one of the best defensive teams in the league. They put it all together. You can make the case that, hey, Yeah, they're sort of now. They're right now is a bit of a lull. It's a natural lull with 19 games to go before the playoffs. There's nobody really pushing them in the playoff race. They're probably not going to catch Boston for second. They're 11 points back. Nobody's going to catch them in all likelihood unless there's a really unspeakable calamity that befalls them. So it's only kind of human nature that you might have a bit of a lull at this moment. But you really hope, if you're Sheldon Keefe, that they've learned how to channel the team that won those 7 straight games, channel that playoff edge that he talked about at the morning skate today, the mindset, the mentality, and the template, the model, as he called it, of that 7-game win streak. You got to hope that that's in their collective memory. They know how to do it, and they can bring it when they need it.
The opening faceoff is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on Sirius XM and the all-new Sirius XM.
It's TSI Mike here. Go Leafs go. We've got another great game on the tap tonight. Montreal versus Toronto. Toronto versus Montreal. Leafs, Habs, whatever. And guess what? It's hockey night in Canada. Yes, let's get it. Go Leafs go. Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat. Smash that like button down below. As well, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, if you're not subscribed already. And turn that little bell on so you don't miss it when we go live for any Toronto sports or these amazing Toronto Maple Leaf games with these best fans in hockey right here on TSI. Thanks for hanging out with us. Join our community today as an insider, only 99 cents a month. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs go!
Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent.
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th.
Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Koulias and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had, the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
The Leafs continue their road trip with a stop in Montreal, which is always an exciting evening on the schedule. This is certainly for a team that's not going to make the postseason, the Canadiens. This is their Stanley Cup, as there will be a lot of Leaf fans in attendance and a great atmosphere in the Bell Center. The starting goaltender is Ilya Samsonov. 16-5 and 6, 3.14 and an 8.85 save percentage. But over the last little while, he has been much, much better.
Yeah, I guess if you go back fairly a Samsonov over his last 13, which is since his, well, went to the Toronto Marlies, but wasn't there as long
didn't
as
play,
in the American League. But for Samsonov, 11-2 in the 13 starts since, and a 9.11 save percentage, 2.35 goals against average. Unfortunately, from where he was, overall the save percentage is still 8.85. And it takes a long way. Especially with the one game in Buffalo where he gave up, 5 on 13 shots or something. He was pulled against Tampa twice where he gave up 3 on 4 shots. And it takes a while to get that save percentage going the other way.
You see it climb 3 points a night. You know, 883, you've gone to 885. It's been a long struggle for him. Sam Montembeault will start in goal for the Montreal Canadiens. He is 13-11 and 5, 3.14 goals against average, 9.05 save percentage, and he's 2-2-0 lifetime against the Maple Leafs with a 3.90 goals against average. Samsonov is 4-1-1 against the Habs with a 2.99 goals against average as well in those games. So we will see tonight. The other big news, of course, is that Mitch Marner is not in the lineup tonight. And we saw that when we were doing the game the other night after he decided, for some inexplicable reason, not to shoot the puck in a wide open net and then tried to wrap it around and then lost an edge and then kind of went over on his knee or ankle. He played after that, but is not in the lineup tonight.
Yeah, still finished with over 20 minutes. But you could see when he kind of did that turnaround jumper towards the net and grabbed his knee after he had fallen to the ice. So Sheldon Keefe right now says it's day to day, but they'll look at it a little further when they get back to Toronto tomorrow.
And they don't play until Thursday.
Yeah, in Philadelphia. And obviously, I don't want to say it's a luxury, but the Leafs right now, usually at this point they were firmly in second to get home ice advantage for the opening round. Now they're firmly in third, not really being challenged yet by the Red Wings or the Tampa Bay Lightning to get knocked into a wild card spot. And it looks like the Bruins and the Florida Panthers, both winners earlier today, aren't going to be caught. So for the Leafs, it's, you hope you don't become complacent. You hope it's more a build to the postseason rather than a sputter once you get in.
Couple of new faces in the lineup for the Maple Leafs, and that will be defenseman Joel Edmondson, a former Montreal Canadien, and a centerman, as Connor Dewar will be in the lineup tonight for Toronto. The scratches, Noah Gregor and Simon Benoit, and really the Leafs defense with Edmondson coming along, a lot of the same type of player. And so it is Benoit who is not playing, and I'm sure he's upset a little bit because home is Montreal for him as we get an offside right off the hop at the Toronto blue line. Nylander with Matthews and Bertuzzi to start. Domi's going to play left wing with Tavares and Kelly Yarncrook. Nyes, Camp, and McMahon, the other forward line, and then Connor Dewar will center Reeves and Holmberg. Dewar and Reeves are quite familiar with one another.
Yeah, played a lot together last year with Minnesota.
Leafs to the left and the Canadiens to the right as it's chipped down into the Montreal zone. Matthews up forward, checking on Suzuki. Played around the boards to the far side. Caulfield trying to pry it free. Nylander has it on his skate, under his skate. And finally, it's around back of the net. Mike Matheson getting it to the line and out at center ice. Lyubushkin gave the puck away. It comes across on the right wing side. A pass back in front. Scores! Mike Matheson comes off the left wing as the Leafs get caught at the blue line with numbers. And in the first minute, it's 1-0 Montreal.
Matheson coming in was a minus 27 for the Canadiens, but it starts with Ilya Lyubushkin was unable to keep the puck in the Montreal zone. And when the Canadiens escape, nobody collapses back to take the spot of Lyubushkin, who then tried to stand up and make a hit at the blue line. That created the 2-on-1 down low. You give Matheson credit. The defenseman jumps into the rush and finishes it off 38 seconds in
walking around Ilya Samsonov to give the Habs the first lead.
9th goal of the season for Matheson, Caulfield, and the youngster Slavkovsky will draw the assists. Leafs get it down into the Montreal zone. Tavares looking in front of the net. His pass was blocked, and the Canadiens have dug it out and get it up on the right wing side. It'll be shot into the Toronto zone. Down the boards comes Alex Newhook, but he couldn't get it past McCabe, and the pass now comes out at center ice with Brody coming to the line. He'll backhand it in, thinks about going in around back of the net after the puck, ran into his man. The puck just lays there, and it is cleared away from harm's way by Joel Armia. Leafs are able to keep it in with Nyes getting it down into the corner. Now here's Camp back to the point. Long shot is deflected wide of the net. Montembeault may have got a piece of that, but it does not show as a shot on goal. Nyes around back of the net. Back to the point to Liljegren. Far side and another shot coming, and that's high and wide over top of the net. Liljegren into the corner. Nyes coming out at the top of the circle into the slot area trying to find Bobby McMahon, who gets a shot away. That was blocked by Camp, but the Leafs doing a nice job here until Nyes gives the puck away. Nyes back checking, and the Canadiens will steer it down into Toronto territory. An early Montreal goal has got the folks at the Bell Center all wound up. Now Reeves setting it down into the zone. Around back of the net, Evans takes a bit of a hit, and the Canadiens will launch it high on a bounce down into the Toronto end. Lyubushkin being forced there by Anderson on a bit of a dangerous play. But nothing transpires. An icing call coming here against Montreal.
Josh Anderson, it seems, now we've talked about this before, whether he was with Columbus and since moving to the Montreal Canadiens, it seems like he scores every game against Toronto. The truth is, in 31 games career against the Leafs, Anderson has only 13 goals. I mean, that's still fairly impressive, but it feels like the numbers should be inflated.
It's not Austin Matthews territory. He has 26 goals in 32 games against the Habs. Ralphie?
Got your notes?
No, I'm counting on you starting at the top of yours. We got a broken piece of glass here that's going to take some time.
All right, the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We'll start with players with the letter A.
A. Nice. Can we go back to the old Mutual Street Arena days? I love that old barn personally, but that's just me, you know.
I don't quite remember that one the same. The first game of this, what's really hard to believe, with Montreal and Toronto playing in the same division, this is the second meeting of the season between these two clubs. Leafs haven't played New Jersey yet, but the first meeting between the Canadiens and the Toronto Maple Leafs was game one of the regular season.
Yeah.
And you may remember the Leafs took a 3-2 lead into the third period, gave up 3 quick ones. And then with Ilya Samsonov on the bench, Austin Matthews scored twice to send the game to overtime. And eventually it was Mitch Marner that was able to win it in a shootout for the Leafs.
One of the Bell Center attendants has got the piece of plexiglass that's going to protect the off-ice officials.
Now, and I know that Ilya Lyubushkin, Joe, some people are going to blame him for standing up. They hit on the goal, but because it's Matheson that jumped into the play, that's the responsibility of the forward to pick that up. I mean, I think I've loved that about Simon Benoit, where he'll stand up and make the play at the blue line.
But the back checker has got to do his job.
You got to have some support coming back.
Well, 17:39 left to play in the first period, and everybody just out for a bit of a skate here as they are. It's not a regular piece of glass. It's kind of the
curved one by the penalty box?
Right by the penalty box, yeah, I think. And it's it's about 2 feet high and 3 feet wide. So it's not like you're going to order out and say, hey, we got one of these, although they should have it somewhere hiding within the bowels of the Centre Bell.
They were bringing it out. Montreal, by the way, just 3 wins in their last 13 games, coming in 3-8-2 during that stretch, 2-1-2 in their last 5.
Now, while we have the time, do you think that Arbor Jacki and Ryan Reeves will renew familiarities? Like you said, it was the first game of the season.
First period, first game. And it was Ryan Reeves came in with a big hit. The crowd went nuts, and you give young Arbor Jackeye credit. He latched on to Reeves, kind of pushed it up against the net, the Montreal Canadiens net, because the hit was in the Montreal zone, and they decided to go at it. Since then, Reeves has fought Marcus Foligno, and then most recently the kid in New York with the Rangers.
New York, yep. So the delay continues, and the folks have decided not to go to a commercial break to save us all of this important information, which we are spewing out here as fast and furious as we can. And Mr. Ralph is already into page 2 of his well-orchestrated notes.
What about yours?
I'm done.
No, you printed.
I'm
you got
done.
about 8 pages.
I'm done.
Out there.
I'm done. I got nothing.
The one thing I've been searching to find that I saw earlier is the Leafs record without key players in the lineup, and that being Tavares, Marner, Matthews, and Willie Nylander.
And for the most part,
for every player that's been out of the lineup, the numbers have been incredible from a Leafs side.
Except
what?
Mitch Marner. Marner, they are. I got the correction on that, and it is.
They're 11-2-2.
No, they're 11-12-2.
No, you didn't get the correction.
I did get the correction. You didn't get the correction. I got the correction. I think I got the correction. Anyway, we'll look.
We're looking now.
Yeah, we got. Well, as luck would have it, we have time, Mr. Ralph.
All right, keep talking.
Yeah, because the stat was that the winning percentage was .458 or something of that nature, which, of course, 11-2-2 would be much better than that. So, it was a lady correction, and I believe that is the. But I can give you the other ones. Matthews, they're 24-12-0. Nylander, 24-10-2. Riley, 31-11-4. And Tavares, 10-2-2.
Okay, yes, I've got the same email. Apologies, there was a typo on the record without Marner. It's 11-2-2.
Oh.
What else you got?
I got nothing. I must have got another email.
You got nothing.
I got nothing.
No, that was the correction. Originally, they'd said 11-12-2, but it is, in fact, 11-2-2. But the others, without John Tavares, the Leafs are 10-2-2. Without Morgan Riley, 31-11-4. Without Willie Nylander, 24-10-2. And without Austin Matthews, 24 wins, 12 losses.
Joel Edmondson skating around, about to get his first shift in a Leaf uniform.
I did find it somewhat ironic that Wayne Simmons was in on trade deadline day here on TSN when Edmondson was acquired. It's very well known, the highlight of Edmondson's cross-check across the side of Wayne Simmons' head. Of course, that was back when you could do it for a mere $5,000. Morgan Riley found out that the price of
much higher.
The inflation has caused that to be a little more expensive than $5,000.
Hey, we haven't had a good glass-breaking delay in a long time. Long time.
What's the Leafs record without Mitch Marner?
We'll look it up.
That kills 6 minutes.
We're going to go to a commercial break. All right. Well, you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Feel the thrill of the open road and the frosty chill of winter.
You're as cold as ice.
With sounds specially selected for hitting the slopes or cruising through the snow.
What's up, Leafs fans? All right, guys, commercial break from the glass break in here. Looks like I'm just going to be a TSI, riding TSI the only way I'm going to watch tonight since I can't get it. So thank you all for being here and jumping in and hanging out with us here on the live. Go Leafs go. What the heck is going on? Down 1-0 already. Let's go, boys. Let's turn it around and get this done once they fix the glass. All right. I just tried a new feature out with a cool little social media thing, and I sent it out. We're sending out this link like crazy out on the internet right now. So I need you guys to do the exact same thing. If you're watching, Send this link to your friends, to your enemies. If you got Habs fans, get them in here to talk some trash as long as they can keep it civil and we don't, hurt their feelings because we're Leafs fans, right? Go Leafs, go. All right, guys, we'll talk to you guys soon. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Johnny, what are you doing back there, buddy?
On your own niche, right?
SiriusXM NHL
What's up,
Network
insiders?
Radio. Sirius
It's
XM
TSI
91
Mike here.
and on your
Go
schedule with the SiriusXM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
I think Ilya Lyubushkin getting a new blade for his skate.
How did that come undone on the goal, the Montreal goal right off the bat?
I think it may have.
That might explain some things.
Yeah, when you can't get back to do anything. 1-0 Montreal. And it appears that we're about ready to start up again. Oh, there's the whistle. Lee Nylander getting into position, and we're about ready to drop the puck in the Montreal end of the rink to the right of Montembeault, and it's dropped, and now Nylander against the boards. Knocked it back towards the blue line, but the Canadiens are able to play it down in over the line. Lyubushkin goes in and slams into his men. Here's Gallagher getting it around the boards, but the Leafs have it now, and it is Bertuzzi trying to one-hand it in over the line. Nylander let it go into the far corner. Matthews onto the puck quickly, but can't make a pass out in front. It comes around to Gallagher on the left wing, and the Montreal veteran gets it out, but he hits Nylander with an attempted pass. Then Nylander gives the puck away. Josh Anderson to the right wing side, a shot, and that was stopped by Samsonov. Montreal with Matheson in the far corner, sending it around the boards. Another shot from an angle by Goulet is stopped. Back of the net, trying to come out, Harvey Pinard. He loses the disc. The Leafs get it up on the wing, and it'll be brought now by Bertuzzi to center. He is taken to the boards by Caden Goulet, and it's down into Montreal territory. Matheson behind the net. 1-0 Canadiens. They have 3 of the first 4 shots on goal. Down into the Toronto end for Brody. Tried to reverse the puck along the boards for McCabe. McCabe had it intercepted. It bounces in on goal. And a quick reaction save made there by Samsonov. Boy, he was more shocked than anything that all of a sudden he sees the puck coming to his left, and he had to quickly snap that left pad out to make the save.
Thank God there wasn't much velocity on it.
McCabe coming out of his own zone, gets it up on the right side. Camp across the line with Domi. Domi into the slot with a chance to shoot it, and he does, but it's right into the chest of Montembeault, who will cover up. David Camp was on the doorstep, but unable to get any kind of a redirect done.
Obviously, with Mitch Marner out of the lineup, Sheldon Keefe has to do some juggling in the top 6 forwards. But you and I have discussed this, where Max Domi has looked so much better playing center than he has the wing, but they've got him bumped to the wing here for this game in Montreal. It'll be interesting to see, though, when Marner gets back. David Camp bumped up to the third line.
The draw is not done correctly, and Camp is waved out, so McMahon moves in. They have Nyes on the wing, and the draw won cleanly, and a shot from an angle was blocked. Nyes, of course, left the game after taking that elbow to the schnoz from Marchand the other night. Now here's a turnover in the Leaf zone. Suzuki working it back on the left wing side, trying to work in front Slavkovsky, and the pass intercepted, and the Leafs don't get it out. It's tripped to the near side. Suzuki trying to center, and it goes off the stick of Edmondson and up into the screen and out of play. I am sure that Brad Treliving, if he had his druthers, would have gotten a right-handed shooting defenseman. But Edmondson will certainly provide the Leafs with a lot of physicality and experience. He is the most experienced player as far as winning playoff series on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, he's up there. You know, he's up there with us, Ryan Reeves, for Series 1, playoff Series 1 in their careers. But certainly, I mean, he'll bring that element, especially if it is, well, I mean, whether it's Boston or Florida, you're going to feel like it's going to be a bit of a street fight in the opening round.
Well, the Leafs get it in across the line. Labushkin worked into the corner, played it around to the near boards. McMahon got there to chip it further back. And now the Canadiens get it D to D back of their goal and will try to work out with it. The long lead pass has gone astray, and that's going to turn into an icing. Morgan Rielly turns 30 years young today. And interesting, he played 3 years with Joel Edmondson in junior hockey. So there'll be lots of stories to tell about bus rides out in the western prairies and time spent together in junior hockey. So a familiar face for Edmondson in the Leaf dressing room. Canadiens launch it high to center ice. McCabe gets up at the red line and backhands it back into the zone. Panning on a pass there was Savard. Leafs try to take advantage of maybe a turnover here. The puck still free back of the net. Hustling after it and playing it back as Pontus Holmberg. At the blue line, near side for McCabe. McCabe sends it to the front of the net. They bang away at it. And it's cleared by Montreal to the far boards. Armia taken to the wall there as the puck comes free. Reeves tried to free it up. It comes back towards the blue line, but way out of the reach of McCabe. And it'll force him back into the Toronto zone to recover the puck. Jake McCabe got it ahead at center and played it in. Off a stick, it goes down back of the net in front of the goal, and fanning on it completely was Bertuzzi. Boy, an offside then at the Leaf blue line on the counterattack.
Well,
I'd love to have $1 for every time Tyler Bertuzzi has fanned on a good scoring chance.
Yeah, and I think this was Austin Matthews that picked up the loose puck and then threw it out into the slot. Yes, it is, in fact, Matthews lifts the stick, throws it out. Bertuzzi is wide open. And even the other night when he missed the empty net, remember? And the Leafs had to hang on. Was that maybe in Arizona?
Yeah. Canadiens shoot it into the Toronto zone. Down the boards, Liljegren overskated the puck. Suzuki trying to free it up. And Slavkovsky couldn't come up with it, and the Leafs carry to center with a pass to the line. Matthews gets it into the left wing corner. Barges in there after it, trying to get it away from Gouli. And the Canadiens pick it up, and Matheson skates it out at center. Suzuki will get it down into the Leaf zone. Puck back at the Toronto net. Now to the right wing side. Edmondson had bowled over his man. He's also lost his stick. So the Leafs have got a player out there without a cue. Near side, Caulfield, centering pass. Knocked off a stick, grabbed off then, and set out into the center ice area by the Leafs. And it went right by William Nylander, and the Canadiens have it right back into the Toronto zone. And this time it's going to be icing. I don't know why Willie seemed to give it the half-hearted, it's going to be here, I've got it. And
yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good play by Dewar just to throw it up the left wing boards and alleviate it. I think Willie Nylander, Joe, gave Edmondson his stick, and then Nylander went to the bench and I think was maybe thinking he could get a quick break, and yet when the puck came to him, he kind of did a U-turn away from it.
Draw to the right of the Montreal zone is scrummed but carried by Stubble back of the net. Leafs get to it at the blue line. Caulfield drops it back to his defense and banks it ahead, and Slavkovsky will backhand it into the Toronto zone. Leafs are changing, and so are the Canadiens. Here's Morgan Rielly. The birthday boy gets it up on the left wing side. Drop pass for Yarncrook. Calle Yarncrook stops it up. Yarncrook playing it around back of the net, but everybody had vacated that area. Down the boards, the Leafs are able to poke it high in the air. Tavares can't get to it. Canadiens send it back behind the net. And it'll be played out on the left wing for Jordan Harris. Harrison on the left wing with a shot. And that went off the blocker of goaltender Ilya Samsonov and up into the screen and out of play.
I know we talked about this before we went on the air, but I read a list of names to you. You know, there's so much talk about who you acquire at the deadline and what you've got to do, and you've got to add some help and everything else.
All right.
But the names were Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane, Cale Makar, Andrei Vasilevsky, Victor Hedman, Henrik Zetterberg, Evgeny Malkin, Nick Lidstrom. What do they have in common other than winning Stanley Cups? They were Conn Smythe Trophy winners. These were the best players in the playoffs, and they're the franchise players.
And that will never change. Here's Nyes, tackled in the near corner in the Montreal zone. Canadians get it out on the left wing and across the line. Newhook, his pass into the slot went astray. Canadians play it around to the side of the goal, and McCabe is there trying to play it out, but it goes to the point and it's kept in. Jack-Eye back to the point. Jack-Eye plays it to himself off the near boards, and the Leafs are going to get it out at center ice, and McMahon gets away from Jack-Eye. He's in on goal with a drop pass, and unable to get a stick on it was Matthew Nyes. It went off his shin pad and then bounced in on goal, and Montembeault had no issue.
Boy, that was Bobby McMahon, I think, has got to take this to the net. He tries a backhand saucer pass to get it back to Nyes, but it's not in the Gretzky category of passes, and it hits Nyes in the left knee. But he outmuscled Jack-Eye, still had, I mean, even though David Savard was sliding at him, still had a slight lane to the net where he could have tried it and had Nyes look for a rebound if there was one.
Edmondson keeps the puck in around back of the net. It goes. Here's Bertuzzi trying to free it up. Now Matthews back to the point. Edmondson chips it back at the net for Nylander. Nylander double teamed in there. The Canadians get the puck along the wall, but Matthews is there stealing it again and sending it to an open wing. Bertuzzi lit it in on the right side for Nylander. He stops up, looks for a man, still has it, now sends it to the net, but it was fairly high and almost untippable as it comes to center ice again, and the Leafs going back to, almost too many folks on the ice here from Montreal, but no penalty. Lyubushkin dropping it back. Wrist shot taken there by Dewar, went wide of the net. And the Maple Leafs trying to come out with it. And the Canadians get it to the Leaf blue line, only to have it turned over. And Pontus Holmberg gets it back. And it is cleared into Montreal territory, but out of the reach of Reeves. Pontus Holmberg comes back in on the left wing. Dewar's going to the front of the net, but the shot was wide, and it's gone up into the screen. And out of play with 10:43 to play in the first period. And the Canadians on an early goal have a 1-0 lead.
Well, we've got Connor Dewar wearing number 20. Or no, apologies. It's number 20 is worn by Joel Edmondson.
26.
And we're trying to remember the last player, Leaf player to wear number 20, Eddie Belfour, might go down to be one of the most famous ever to wear number 20. Number 24 is Dewar, and Wayne Simmons, we think, was the last Leaf to wear number 24.
Yep. Played off the boards and out at center ice. Launched right back down into the Toronto zone. Chipped around the wall to the far side. Canadians get it back into the corner. Gallagher got it freed up, and a sharp angle shot by Josh Anderson. Burlington native let it go wide. Canadians with it again in the Toronto zone. Knocked back to Anderson. Trying to work in off the wing. Stubel couldn't get a shot. And the Maple Leafs have it again in their own zone. Brought out by Yarncrook. He's going to drop it off to Brody. To Liljegren. Gets to the blue line and fires it into the zone. Tavares against the wall. Couldn't get a pass from Domi as he tried to kick it ahead. But now the Leafs have it again in the center ice area. Played in for Nylander. He let a shot go. And a pad save by Montembeault. He got a lot on that. I'd like to see Willie shoot more.
Off the wing?
Off the wing.
Yeah.
Yep. Puck in the Toronto zone. Played out and down the ice. The race for it here by Nylander. And they're going to say Matheson got there ahead, but it was close.
Now he goes to the defenseman usually, doesn't it?
Yep.
By the way, we should also, thanks to the guys in our ears for reminding us, Frankie Corrado wore number 20.
Really?
Yeah.
Hardly. Who was that? Hardly remember him.
Well, we said right away, first game that Frankie played.
Yep.
He's going to be in the broadcast booth with us pretty soon. We love Frankie.
He's got a great future.
Yeah.
Not as a defenseman. Leafs get it out at center ice, and now Bertuzzi gets in across the line. Looking to drop it off to Nylander. He does. Nylander works to the half boards, then comes back, gives it off, gets it returned, fanned on, then shot. Grabbed off by Bertuzzi. He tried to find Matthews in front of the net. And one too many passes and not enough shooting. Suzuki Carries in and gets a shot away, and it'll be swallowed up by Samsonov. Or will it? No, he's going to throw it aside. Did the whistle go? Well, we can't see it. No, it hasn't. Play goes on. Down into the corner it goes. Matthews taken down by Jacky. The puck comes free to Nyes, trying to get a shot away but failing. And on the near side, it'll be poked to the line and out. And Nyes will launch it right back into Montreal territory, but it clears the glass and goes out of play. And a face-off will come in the neutral zone. 1-0 Montreal. First period, 8:36 to play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Ron is a teacher helping bright minds, but this time he needed help. Alpine Credit sent a cosmic superhero with a debt consolidation loan. She conjured a magic book, Debt Consolidation 101. Lesson 1, consolidate debt into one low monthly payment. Lesson 2, nothing. It's a short book. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Maple Leafs trail in the game by a score of 1-0. Matheson from Caulfield and Slafkovsky, 26 seconds. Check that, 38 seconds into the first period.
We've already given the numbers of Sam Montembeault. Jake Allen traded to the New Jersey Devils at the deadline, leaving Montembeault and Caden Primo as the goaltenders for the Canadiens. But it was pretty tough to replace the guy that took him to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2021.
And interesting, the Devils decide that fire the coach and then we'll fix the goaltending. Played down into the Montreal zone. Played along the boards by Montembeault. Punched back in deep by McCabe. Canadians will try the other side and get it out into neutral ice. A bit of a race for the puck here as McCabe gets in there against Pizzetta. Trying to dig it free as Holmberg as he pins it up against the wall. Dewar trying to dig it out. Has it come back to the point. Pass to the near side for Jacky. Out into the slot area, trying to wind and shoot Pinard, and that was deflected wide of the net. Reeves given a jolt on the boards, but is able to get it out. But it's going to be an icing call, and back into the Toronto zone it will come.
Neither team really has had any extended offensive zone time, have they? Canadians here, it's a point shot that Ilya Samsonov is able to kick away.
Good bit of boxing out by the Leaf defense on that play. Suzuki will take the draw. The draw is scrum, but it goes to the far boards. And the Leafs come away with it. Played off the boards by Dewar and then chipped out at center ice by Holmberg. Matheson gets it right back into the Toronto end. Liljegren with a glance over his shoulder, but Caulfield is after him in the corner. Leafs get it freed up there for McCabe, who gets it up on the wing. And Bertuzzi just gets it into the center ice area. Canadians trying to bring it right back in again, and they do. Suzuki with a drop pass. A shot taken there off the wing by Caulfield was deflected wide. The puck comes back at center, and it's going to come out into neutral ice. Matheson goes back. Played ahead for Suzuki. Suzuki in across the line. Slafkovsky had gone to the front of the net. The pass to him, and he gets a shot away. And that was kicked away nicely by Samsonov. Liljegren starting out of his own zone. 1-0 Montreal. Up on the right side, Joel Edmondson with a shot that was well wide, looking for a redirect and none coming. Brought back by Gallagher. He'll get it into the Leaf end. Edmondson runs a little shield, and the Leafs are able to get the puck out, but it's going to be an icing call against Toronto.
Another game where the Leafs offensively just not in sync, as they were held twice to a single goal in the games against Boston, and then it took overtime to get to 2 goals in the win against the Buffalo Sabres. So this is the Leafs' lowest goal output in a 3-game span all season. In fact, you got to go back a couple of years for that.
Slavkovsky with a couple of good chances and a good pad save made by Samsonov. The backhand he completely fanned on, but the forehand was a good leg save made by the Leaf netminder.
Leafs just 3 shots on goal.
6:39 to play. Now Domi has broken his stick. Here's a chance for Struble to get it down into the corner. Leafs along the boards, trying to get it back to the point. Long shot blocked. Domi's gotten a new stick from the bench, and he's carrying the puck to center. Flips it in on the left wing. Chipped along by Yarncrook back of the net. Domi trying to get to it. His dad Ty in attendance tonight, along with Knuckles Nyland. Played along the boards. The Leafs going to try and keep it in. Riley does. Sends it into the corner. That bounced away from the Montreal player. Domi with a shot. Good pad save made by Primo. Rebound and a backhand. Is in back of the goal. Trying to get it in front was Lyubushkin. Then when Tavares did, there was no one within range of the puck. And it is cleared back into Toronto territory where Morgan Riley settles it down. 5:44 to go first period.
Really, Lyubushkin's been all over the place, hasn't he? We've seen him a couple of times jump into the rush.
Up on the wing and brought in by David Camp. Slid into the left wing corner. Nyes goes in there after it. Reed with a hit as it's played by McCabe back to the point. Along the boards. McCabe getting it freed up. Trying to keep the puck in is Bobby McMahon. McMahon getting it to Brody. His shot went off a body and goes harmlessly into the left wing corner. McMahon gets it again. Near side for Brody. Brody holds, works back along to the left wing side. Back to Brody, but it's a bad pass made there by McCabe. And an easy clear for Montreal, but the Leafs shoot it right back in again. Down the boards and along to the far side. And the Canadiens get it out at center. Trying to go wide and taken out nifty there, Alex Newhook. Edmondson frees the puck up and Liljegren starts up ice. Liljegren through center. A long left wing feed that would have been icing, but the Leafs are there in Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi trying to cycle it back behind the net, finds Nylander. Nylander working along with Matthews. Matthews curls back of the net. Matthews still with it. Curls back again. Now comes out, can't get a shot. Good coverage there by Montreal. Played off on the wing for Nylander. Left wing side. Cutting out now from the corner. Got a shot away. The rebound in front of the net. And Matthews couldn't get his stick on it. Matthews takes his man down. Bertuzzi back for Matthews, but the pass was nowhere near the Leaf centerman as it's played out into the center ice area. Missing Mitch Marner a bit.
Well, I'd say Matthews is on his game. Tyler Bertuzzi's had a huge struggle in handling the puck and trying to make plays.
Dewar sends it down into the Montreal zone. Reeves against the boards, back to the point. McCabe stepping in, still with it, got a shot away. And Reeves with the rebound, but can't get it out from underneath Sam Montembeault. Face-off coming in the Montreal zone, but the Leafs getting a lot more offensive zone time here in the latter stages of period number 1. They trail in the hockey game 1-0. A goal scored in the first 38 seconds of this match. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
So brought to you by Alpine Credits. Do you own your own home and need a loan? Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca. 1-0 Montreal, as Mike Matheson is the goal scorer.
He's really come along as well since the All-Star break. Nick Suzuki, who trails only Austin Matthews for goals since the All-Star break.
Draw scrummed, controlled by the Maple Leafs. Domi, back of the net, it goes for Yarncrook. Tavares trying to get to the front of the net. Yarncrook is taken off the puck by Jackeye, and now back into the near corner, almost stolen by Domi, back of the net. Cleared off a stick and bunted to center ice. That could have been a high stick. I'm sure they're going to keep an eye on that, depending on what transpires here. The Leafs have it in their own zone, and now here's McCabe trying to get around back of the net. Got it for Brody. Brody up on the wing. That didn't work. Leafs able to do a couple of passes, and then an errant one is going to go the length of the ice. Good thing it got up on the edge and rolled, because that wasn't going to make it.
That was David Savard of the Canadiens that was the first back to touch it. And that was another name that was mentioned a lot around the trade deadline. You talked about a right-handed defenseman, and he was a pickup. One year, the first year that Tampa won it, I believe, or the second year the Lightning won it. David Savard from Columbus to Tampa was their big acquisition. He was an important one. That's what many thought. You know, even there were some rumors that the Leafs would be in on David Savard moving.
Puck comes out at center. Yarncrook backhands it down into Montreal territory, but it won't go for icing. And Gordon Harris is back to recover for Montreal. Got it up on the wing for Struble. Played down into the zone. Round the wall, it's going to come back to the near side, and there's Bertuzzi freeing it up. Got it to Matthews, who flips it into the left wing. Nylander after it along the boards. Matthews overskated it. Harris trying to come out. Nylander steals. Nylander dropping for Bertuzzi, and Bertuzzi never did get a shot away. Boy, Tyler's had a tough first period. Up on the right side, Nylander. Nylander on the right wing at the half boards, curls. Now he sends it around back of the net. Back of the goal, a wraparound attempt then by Matthews, went astray, and the Canadiens have sent the puck back into the Toronto zone with 2 minutes left to play in the first period. 1-0 Montreal. Long pass ahead at center. McMahon gets it into the zone. Nyes punches it around for David Camp. Back to the point. Long shot! And down to cover up is Montembeault. And Matthew Nyes was right in the middle of it. And he gets up. Yeah, I'd be a little snarly, too, after taking that elbow from Marchand the other night.
Well, this was a bit of a late hit by David Savard as well. After the puck was cleared up, Nyes was actually sprawled in front of the Montreal goaltender and took a couple of shots from Savard, so he took exception to that. That's playoff hockey, though, isn't it? Actually, it was a cross-check that knocked down Nyes in the first place. Then Savard finished off with a couple of more.
Minute 43 to go here in the first period.
No power plays in this game. Montreal recently went back-to-back games without a single power play.
Played high to center ice. However, they've had 204 this year. The Maple Leafs 178.
But the Leafs, the least penalized, I believe. Least time short in the year.
Left wing feed. Got in over the line for Camp. Back of the net for Nyes. Let it go into the corner. McMahon chipped it in front of the net. Nyes gets it freed up with a chance to shoot it. And he fired it wide. Camp unable to keep it in. It comes to center ice, and the Leafs have it at their own blue line. Change of players with the final minute about to be announced. Here's Morgan Riley in with a shot. That's just wide. The rebound. Chip wide of the net into the near corner. Down the wall comes Yarncrook. And then it is Reeves unable to keep it in, and it's brought to center ice by Alex Newhook. He turns the puck over. Then it's chipped into the into the Toronto zone, but a delayed offside. 40 seconds left to play in the period. Brody turns the puck over, but got some good support there from Domi. Up ahead, Yarncrook. Back to Domi with an avenue to the net and a shot. And he fired it high and wide, and the rebound has gone into the screen and out of play. Kelly Sutherland and Garrett Rank are the referees tonight. Michel Cormier and Jonathan Deschamps are the linesmen. One of the things I found interesting, too, the Canadiens have 7 Ontario-born players in their lineup, and only 5 from La Belle Provence. And back in the day, that was
blasphemy. Blasphemy.
Les Glorieux. Not a chance. No. But now, that was also when they got the first player coming out of Quebec all the time, like Bellevaux and a few others. Guy Lafleur.
Although Lafleur was drafted.
Yeah, he was drafted, but that was larceny.
That was it L.A. or Oakland? I forget which. The Oakland Seals.
Yep. That was Sam Pollock at his best. Face-off coming in the Montreal zone. 26.6 seconds left to go in the period. The draw won by Toronto. Got it back to the blue line. Fed into the side of the goal. Domi ties up his man. Tavares trying to lift the stick and get it freed up back in the net for Domi. Domi can't get it in front, but when he did, it was partially deflected by Montembeau's stick. Otherwise, Yarncrook was in position A. Played down into the Toronto zone. Final seconds ticking down. And it'll be played down wide of the net. And the siren brought over from the Forum in Montreal, Dick, sends the teams to their respective dressing room.
Well, 9-9 in shots. Montreal scores in the first minute. The Leafs yet to respond, and nothing terrible. I mean, obviously, you hate the coverage on the first one, and still trying to get a look at whether really Lyubushkin lost his blade on that play, and that's why the Leafs were a man short in front of their own net. But nothing overly inspiring from a Leafs standpoint either.
1-0 Montreal will step aside as Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk are here for our intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Build a championship fantasy baseball team with the advice of SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio.
Ronald Acuna should be the first overall pick.
Ronald touches them all. Hear winning strategies and player projections from former big league general managers Jim Bowden and Steve Phillips.
Soto, I believe, is going to have the best offensive season he's had in his career.
Get ready for your draft by listening to our Experts Draft right now on the all-new SiriusXM app. And catch all of your fantasy baseball talk on Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something.
What's up, hockey fans? Oh my God, this lighting is so bad. Guys, I will get it fixed at some point. You can't even see me here. But first period, you know what time that means, right? It's the best intermission in the world. The first period intermission on Saturday night, hockey night in Canada. Leafs, Habs, Coach's Corner. God, I miss Coach's Corner. We're going to bring it back here, guys. We're going to bring it back here on TSI. Thank you all for hanging out so far. 241 likes, 2 new members. Well, 1, and then the match that I did as well. But glad you guys are here, chatting it up. Junior, Steph, keep it classy, gentlemen. Keep it classy, okay? And let's have some fun here in the second period. This social media sharing stuff is working out pretty well here, based on the numbers. So thank you all for hanging out, and go Leafs go. Let's get it back, boys. What is going on? Why do we not wake up until the third period? It seems like we just played great hockey for 8 games, 8 games. What are we doing? Let's go, boys. Wake up and don't bench Benoit. What are you thinking? Healthy scratch in his house in Montreal where he'd have all his fans and friends and family in there? Nah. What are you thinking, Coach Keefe? Put your life together. Anyways, you all know my feeling on that. We'll be back in the other intermission. I'll probably jump in here and say what's up to you guys. Thank you for these amazing numbers here. Over 11,300 subscribers. Keep it up. If you're new here, smash it and turn that bell on so you don't miss any of our games. And I'll let this go back to the pregame, postgame, intermission report, whatever it is here in the break. Have fun, guys. Talk to you in a little bit. Maybe I'll try and fix this lighting in between the second period and third. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Then,
When the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Cooley's in the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
And trailing 1-0 to the Habs after 20 minutes of play. TSN After 20 brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. On Hybridate, redefine winter fun with Subaru all-weather capability. Visit your local Subaru dealer and welcome to uncommon winter confidence. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star with you. Dave, obviously the opening goal is what we're going to harp on originally here, and that was just on everybody, wasn't it?
Certainly was. I mean, it wasn't a great play by Labushkin to turn the puck over in the neutral zone, but his teammates didn't exactly bail him out, did they? I mean,
no.
It's like they had three able-bodied forwards tracking back. You had Nylander and Bertuzzi both go to the puck. Nobody picks up Matheson, who just finds massive amounts of open ice and is just left unimpeded, unguarded, unattended to deke out Ilya Samsonov and score that opening goal. Not a fine moment for five-man defensive unit there.
Yeah, just not sharp, and once again not starting well. And this is optimistic analysis. Obviously, the first 9 or 10 minutes go to the Habs, but later on, the Leafs started to spend more time in the Habs zone, which could be a building point for the rest of this game.
Yeah, I thought that was the positive. The ice started to tilt toward the latter end of the period there for sure, and the Maple Leafs had some good pressure. I thought the Matthews line had some good pressure. I thought all the lines. The fourth line was good in limited appearances out there. The only people that really fell down, Jim, were the Montreal ice crew. I mean, they've only been having hockey games in Montreal for more than a century, and it took them nearly as long to replace one small piece of glass. A small point, but it did put a damper on the first period.
Well, it did. It was a funky piece of glass. It's not a regular, normal-sized pane. But what I noticed out of that was, even though it took a while to do it, it didn't really slow the Habs down at that point.
Well, that's true. I was thinking the exact same thing, that maybe, okay, the Leafs had a bit of a slow start, but this will actually cool down the home team. Obviously tone down the building because the building was going nuts out of the gate when the Habs score in the first minute. But you're right. It didn't exactly lead to Toronto, turning things around that quickly. But look, they did shape up a little bit down the stretch there. And if you're Sheldon Keefe, I'm sure you're in the room right now saying, okay, like, shake off the slow start. we had a really good final 5 minutes of that period, and we can build on that going into number 2.
I may be wrong in this, but I thought a lot of the zone pressure started with the fourth line. They might have had the first shift where they hemmed the Habs in. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. I totally agree with that. It was around the 14-minute mark of the period. They had that really. I wrote it down in my book here. They had a great shift. They were all over the Habs, and there was Connor Dewar in there doing his work. Ryan Reeves was a factor. Holmberg was a factor. It was a really good shift where they were able to take 3 or 4 whacks at it, strip pucks. Keep the play moving in the Toronto direction, keep pressure on Samuel Montembeault and the Montreal defense. And I think that actually probably ignited a series of shifts there where the Leafs definitely had the better end of the play.
So we like what we saw out of Connor Dewar. Edmondson, wow, what a big lug this guy is. I mean, he's a great ad, I think, just in terms of how he can clear the front of the net out. And nobody's going to really argue with this guy.
No, I love the addition. I really do. I mean, the only thing that could be better is if he shot right, because obviously we know all about the left shot problem in Leafland. But you're right. This is a consummate professional NHL defenseman. And not only that, he is a consummate professional playoff defenseman. The guy has been on teams that have won 11 playoff series during his career. Obviously won a cup with St. Louis, been to a cup final with Montreal. So, yeah, this is a guy you're going to want in the playoff grind. And, since they're 19 games away from the playoff grind, Jim, couldn't add him at a better time. And already he has looked like a seamless fit.
I always look at developing different looks. So when it was Domi between Bertuzzi and Nylander, a lot of people thought that was going to finish the season that way. And for me, that was a different look. That line obviously has defensive problems, but if you're down a goal or two, maybe you go back to it in the playoff series to generate offense. And I don't know how long this line stays together, but Camp, McMahon, and Nyes, I kind of like it because both those wingers are physical and they do create some space. So, again, another look. I don't know how long it lasts, but something to file away.
Well, you're right. You're looking for positives out of that period. That was the other line that I'd circled. And Matthew Nyes, look, he was shaken up, obviously, in that game against the Bruins with the hit, the accidentally on purpose hit by Brad Marchand that we all talked about for so long after that game. But Matthew Nyes has responded. I mean, he's out there throwing the weight around in really good effect. I think he's been really physical out there. He's been a presence. He's had some chances in front of the net. He's been one of the more effective forwards for the Maple Leafs, and Camp and McMahon have been right there with him. They had that one rush where McMahon tried the saucer pass after picking up a turnover and going down on the odd man rush. It was a very tough play, but it was nearly panned out. Nearly got them a really good scoring chance. So yeah, they were a really positive line, and it makes sense, right? I mean, Camp is a great, smart player, and McMahon and Nyes both have that youthful energy that should be able to fuel an energy line.
So let's return to the familiar analysis of the Leafs playing down to their opposition. I don't know why this happens. The Leafs do not have an exclusive on this. You'll see other teams do this. But again, I have no explanation as to why it would be a consistent factor.
No, it's really not a great attribute, right? Like, you want to take care of business. We've been over this so many times about the number of points they've squandered. You've lost to Chicago twice this season, and yet, you break it down like you start looking at their record against the best teams in the league, and it's elite. Outside of Boston, Boston's the only team that's really had their number. But you really look at the top teams in this league, the Maple Leafs have been toe-to-toe and been better in large part if you add up all the games against the top 5, 6, 7, depending on which number of teams you're talking about. But the teams that have essentially been at the top of the standings have been teams the Maple Leafs have fared very well against in large part. The teams at the bottom, a little sketchier. And it is hard to explain, but ultimately you're hoping that you kind of get the late surge here. Like in game one, the home game where they played the Canadiens, of course, they played down to the competition all night, and then they got the Matthews hat trick and they won in the shootout. So hopefully it won't take a Matthews hat trick, although I wouldn't be against it. Hopefully it won't take last minute heroics here, but hopefully that first period sort of jolts them out of their malaise here, and they bring a better effort in the final 40.
Habs lead at 1-0 over the Leafs after 20 minutes of play. This is Wolfson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums
for the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuss shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Has the everyday got you feeling a little overwhelmed? Yeah, we get it. Stop scrolling through endless cat memes and start scrolling through deals with selloffvacations.com.
Okay. Veradero's sun-kissed beaches, Havana's vibrant nights, and Cayo Largo's serenity. At what price? Cuba is única.
See? Stop feeling overwhelmed and start feeling empowered. We got deals with all the right feels.
Book in store, over the phone, or at
selloffvacations.com.
Do you love deli meat but are careful about your sodium intake? Try new Schneider's Deli Meat with the delicious taste you've come to expect from Schneider's. Now with 25% less sodium than regular deli meats. They're crafted in Canada using only Schneider's premium cuts of meat, and they're an excellent source of protein. Try all 5 new deli meats, including smoked Black Forest ham and herb turkey from Schneider's. Trusted by Canadians for over 130 years. Brand power helping you buy better.
Looking for a simple way to reduce your monthly costs? Enbridge Gas can help with free energy-saving upgrades to keep you comfortable and saving energy year-round. If you're living on a fixed or modest income, you may qualify for our home winter-proofing program. You'll receive free insulation, draft-proofing, and a smart thermostat, all professionally installed at no cost to you. Sound too good to be true? We've already helped more than 22,000 Ontario homes save. Don't miss out. You could be next. Terms and conditions apply. See details at enbridgegas.com/winterproofing.
Step onto treadmill. Start playlist. Skip song. Skip song. Skip song. Hear your jam come on. Turn up speed. Run to the beat and feel like you're the lead in a music video. It's a treadmill workout. Join for $7.99 every 2 weeks at fitforless.ca and experience fitness simplified. Some conditions apply. Fit for less. Everybody happy.
Watch both originals and the latest Hollywood hits when you add stars to a Crave subscription. This March, they were the most influential crime syndicate. A new season of Black Mafia Family.
This is crazy.
Plus, new episodes of the seedy thriller Hightown.
You should be ready for what's coming.
Stars also has the biggest movies. The Expendables 4 with Sly Stallone.
Come on, bring it.
And Saw 10.
It's time to play a game.
Get Stars as an add-on at crave.ca.
The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota. And check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. Guy, it's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Busy night in the National Hockey League. Here we go. Sharks 1-0 over the Senators. That's early in the second. Likewise, it is the Lightning 4-0 over the Flyers early in the second. Torts got kicked out of the game. Capitals 3-0 over the Blackhawks early in the second. And at the end of the first, Rangers 2-0 over the Blues. And these are done. Sabres 3-2 in a shootout over the Oilers. Nashville 2-1 over the Blue Jackets. Canes got by the Devils 4-2. Boston 5-1 over the Penguins. The Panthers 5-1 over the Flames. And we've got a bunch of stuff starting later that we'll deal with after 40 minutes of play. After 20 minutes, it's Habs 1-0 over the Leafs. Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
LG Home. For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Montreal Canadiens lead the Maple Leafs 1-0 on an early goal from Mike Matheson. And it came 38 seconds into the match. We haven't seen a replay of it. We are wondering whether Ilya Lyubushkin lost a blade of his skate, which is one of the reasons why all of a sudden it turned into a 2-on-1.
Yeah, he did stand up to make the hit right at the Leaf blue line. But the other side of that is it was Mike Matheson, the defenseman for the Canadiens, that jumped into the play, and none of Bertuzzi, Nylander, Ross, and Matthews were able to pick him up.
Leafs to the right as the puck is dropped. Cleared off the boards. Nyes can't get to it. Canadiens slash it down into the Toronto end. Riley up ahead for David Camp. On to Nyes, who just airmails it high to center. That took a bit of a backward bounce, but it is freed up for McMahon, who sends it into the zone. Canadians get a pass up the wing, and now they'll start out. Up on the left wing and trying to work in over the line is Newhook. It goes around back of the net. Getting into the way there was Joshua Roy, and the Leafs get it freed up, and now a 2-on-1. Here's McMahon shooting, scores! Bobby McMahon took a look at Nyes and said, I can see a little something just over the pad, and decided the pass wasn't going to happen. And as was the case in the first period, 39 seconds into the second, this game is tied.
This is one of those where Canadians try to stand up at the Leaf blue line, and it gets past the Montreal player. Thanks to Bobby McMahon tipping it towards center ice. And then, as you said, 2-on-1 break with Nyes going in. David Savard is back. And the thing to remember, McMahon is a left-handed shot on the right wing side. A little harder to get that pass across. Instead, he looks up, finds some room, and blasts it far side, blocker side, to tie this game at 1 for Bobby McMahon. That's his first goal in 9 after having that incredible stretch where he scored 7 goals over 5 games.
And how appropriate, since I have nicknamed him Rocket McMahon, that he should score in Montreal, where the real Rocket used to score a lot.
Take off.
Take off yourself.
How's it going?
Good. Hoser. Up here.
God, we're showing our age there.
Yeah, we are, aren't we?
For McMahon, and again, you know, you talk about things you needed at the trade deadline. Bobby McMahon during that stretch showed you that there's some finish, and we just saw it there on that 2-on-1 break. So I would say, you know, if that hadn't have happened, if that 5-game stretch hadn't have happened for McMahon, we'd be talking about how the Leafs needed somebody just like Bobby McMahon has been for them.
Yeah, that can score.
Yep.
Dropped out into the Montreal zone. Yarncrook one-hands it free for Tavares. He tried to send it around the boards and did for McCabe. McCabe rings the boards to find Tavares again. Tavares a little stutter step, then works back towards the blue line, dropping for Domi. Now it comes off a stick. I don't know what Max was thinking as it is cleared back down into the Toronto zone. He kind of went by it thinking there was someone behind him, I think. Brought in over the line by Jake Evans. Evans gets it back into the slot. A shot. That rang off the goal post. The rebound goes around into the corner. McCabe, rather, gets it off for Brody. And TJ Brody gets it ahead for Matthews, who's going to just flip it towards the net. Montembeault plays it to the side of the goal, and the Canadiens will start out. Suzuki hits the line. Caulfield is with him. Played around the boards far side now for Slavkovsky. Back to the blue line. Behind the net it goes. Here's Suzuki coming out of the corner. Suzuki, the London native, to the near side. Played down into the corner. That gets Joel Edmondson into the mix, and the Leafs are going to get it to the line, but not out. Flipped right back in again, but Matthews will play over to an open wing, and Edmondson gets it out. Nylander got it across the line, but couldn't get it in deep. Canadiens bring it right back with Caulfield, dropping it back. Suzuki a shot. That's a wraparound attempt then by Caulfield that didn't work. It comes back to the blue line. Fed in on the right wing side for Suzuki. Down into the corner. Caulfield's gone around back of the net. The shot goes wide and onto his stick, and from a sharp angle that was stopped by Samsonov, and he's going to get a glove on top of it and stop play with 17-17 left to play in the second period, and this game is tied at 1.
This whole thing really is started because Willie Nylander's inability to get the puck deep. He had Tyler Bertuzzi standing on the blue line by the Leaf bench, waiting for Nylander. He would have been offside, and Nylander doesn't chip it deep, doesn't carry it. Montreal takes it back into the Leaf zone, and the Hornets' nest is on.
David Camp gets the lone assist, getting the puck ahead to Bobby McMahon, and the Rocket fires home his 10th. Shot down into the Montreal zone. Played around on the near wing and off a stick to center. Chipped in over the line then by Tanner Pearson. The Kitchener native gets it in along the boards. Back to the far side. Reeves unable to get there in time. Now Dewar working against the wall. Goes after it into the near corner. Back to the point it comes. Canadiens with a shot in traffic. Good play in front of the net though, as Labushkin had his man completely tied up, and Samsonov had a relatively easy time in swallowing that long shot up.
When you look at the development of the Montreal Canadiens, I guess there have been some positive things with Yuri Slavkovsky. He's only got 1 goal in his last games, but he put together an 8-game point streak, 6 goals and 12 points in an 8-game streak. And by the way, leads his draft class in points.
All right. Fan on pass gets to Nyes. He turns back in his own zone, snaps it ahead. Played to the Leafs line. In comes McMahon again. He's got a man going to the front of the net, and he couldn't get it to Nyes. He was on his forehand, and Bobby McMahon had the pass for Nyes blocked. That time he needed to get it to him.
That was a pretty good defensive play, though, to sprawl and take it away from him.
Canadiens bring it in over the line. Alex Newhook turns the puck over. Brought back by McMahon. He couldn't get into the zone. Now it is shot by the Leafs in. And going in there after it to forecheck is David Camp as Savard gets it around the boards, and the Canadiens get it out. Joshua Roy setting it down into the Toronto zone. Liljegren along the boards for Nyes. Nyes ran into a traffic jam. It comes back to the point over on the near side. Canadiens can't control the puck as it comes back to the point. Now a long shot is stopped there by Samsonov, but a big juicy rebound was there. Leafs again with it back in the net. Liljegren trying to chip it into the near corner. Tavares was out a little too far. Couldn't get the puck at the half boards. Long shot goes wide of the Leaf goal, and it is poked away from Samsonov and into the near corner. Back to the point. Kept in there by Montreal. 1-1 tie. Long shot. Pad save. Turnover, and the Leafs are in need of getting this thing out or have it go off a stick and go into the crowd and not get a penalty, which is what happened. And so they will get a change of players, and much needed.
Montreal's had better offensive zone time, I think, here early in the second period than they have all in the first.
They've got to be a tired group, though, Jimmy. They're playing their 7th game in 11 nights. And they get all of the time off now. They had a good rest here between now and Thursday, but it's been a busy part of the schedule.
And even go back to the beginning of January, where you had the California trip. Then within the last month, you have the Colorado, Vegas, Arizona trip. St. Louis was in there as well.
Lyubushkin plays the puck out into center ice. A race for it is going to be won by the Canadian defender. And around back of the net, Pearson trying to play it in. A good hit there. Takes Domi to the ice, or Tavares to the ice. And now here are the Canadians breaking in on the left wing. Lyubushkin trying to get back. And a shot went wide of the net. Maybe off Lyubushkin's stick. Another centering pass goes through the goal crease. Tavares back in his own zone. Carries the puck to center. And across the line for Domi. Domi got around one, but couldn't get it in deep. Then ran into a traffic jam there as the Canadians are able to dig it free. And Jordan Harris will start out of his own zone. Harris to center, and the shoot-in goes into the Leaf end. 14-19 to play in the period. And the Leafs on the board, tied at a goal. Matthews. Pass intended for Bertuzzi was nowhere near him. Now here's Brody trying to center, and I went right past Bertuzzi. At the point, the Leafs keep the puck in with a shot that goes wide. Here's Brody again at the left point. Back to the blue line to Nylander. Closing. Nylander, a little toe drag, got it away. And he sent it just wide of the net. Up against the boards, he gets Matthews, and now Bertuzzi to help out. Centering pass for Nylander, and it bounced over his stick. Played down into the corner. Willie pokes it back in the net for Matthews. Matthews after the puck. 3 Canadians in there, 2 Leafs. The puck finally comes free to Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi stick handles his way out of the zone.
Oh, it's been that kind of night
Has
for
it
him.
ever been? You know what? He's going to score the winning goal. Here the Canadians get an intercept, and they'll shoot it down into the Toronto end. Joel Edmondson up against the boards. Played it to the line, not out. Back to the point it comes. David Savard with a nifty move. Trying to play it off on the left wing. Then a shot is knocked down by Samsonov, and with the assistance of Brody, he is able to cover up on the puck and bring a face-off in the Toronto zone. The Leafs won, and the Montreal Canadiens won. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Sandra and Kabir are celebrating 50 years of marriage by turning their boring bedroom into a spicy one. Oh my. Alpine Credits sent a super strength hero to help with a home renovation loan. New floors, windows, a heart-shaped button that plays this tune. Okay, I think that's quite enough. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Leafs won and the Montreal Canadiens won. And a friend on Twitter has asked us, Mr. Ralph, to please remember the greatest Maple Leaf to ever wear sweater number 20.
All right, see if I can go on. Frankie Corrado, we already mentioned.
Okay, that
second
goes a
greatest.
Long way. Second greatest, then, yes.
Eddie Belfour was up. Bob Pulford.
There you go. And I was going to say that you, of course, had many memorable conversations with Bully.
We used to, I think 7 years in a row, we used to meet for a few minutes after training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd see him the next training camp. By the end of it, it was just a bus ticket out of the door.
Clearing attempt by the Leafs was knocked down, but they get it out at center ice now. If you haven't heard Mr. Ralph's impersonation of Robert Pulford, you have missed a great event. But Pulley was an interesting character. One of the last remaining members of the '67 team. On the Leafs back in their own zone. A pass comes up at center for Nyes. Nyes to the line. And Jack Guy stepped into camp and knocked him offside. It could have been an interference penalty maybe, but we've not had any influence from the officials as of yet, so that can only mean we're in for it.
Going back to Bob Pulford, there was a time a few years ago when Dale Tallon was still the general manager in Chicago. He asked me to come in and do some stuff at the Blackhawks golf tournament. Pulley was there, and he says, "You're not going to make fun of me up there." I said, "You should have thought of that when you were sending me to the minors 8 years in a row."
I'll bet he enjoyed every minute of it.
I had a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, Reeves was knocked down and had to go and retrieve his stick as the Canadiens break the puck out at center. A bank pass to the Toronto blue line, intercepted there, launched right back in by Labushkin, and he's going to go into the forecheck a little bit, but then thinks better of it. Played up on the right side. Canadiens come to the right wing, and in over the line it comes. Pearson trying to get it down into the corner. Riley chips it high along the boards. Knocked away by Reeves, and Riley leads the rush. Up on the left wing for Pontus Holmberg. Riley going to the net for the shot. Oh, and he just missed that top corner. The birthday boy looking to unwrap something here. Oh, my God. That's not me. I did not say that. That was somewhat on the ice there. Brought forward by Nylander. Nylander working on the right side. Drops it back. Shot was blocked. Bertuzzi couldn't get it through. And now on the left wing, it is Brody getting in and sending it off the glass back of the net. Bertuzzi in against the boards. Canadiens try to work it up the wall with Harvey Pinard, losing it. Back of the net. Brody centers. And Nylander was in the doorstep, but never did get the puck on his stick. Suzuki will play it down into the Toronto end. Matthews and Caulfield to the boards. Played back to the point. A giveaway here by Matheson, but the Leafs then turn the puck over. Bertuzzi has just had a horrific day. Here the Canadiens trying to get out with a shot that's blocked. It's cleared to the line, fortunately, and out and down into the Montreal zone. If it weren't for bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. Gloom, despair, and agony on me. Canadiens with a pass on the right wing side, and a shot by Gallagher went wide of the net. Back to the point, kept in by Savard. And two Leafs are down in a heap in front of the net, Tavares and Brody. And I think maybe we have our first penalty, or is this just...
Well, TJ Brody, I think, was the one that may have been clipped with a high stick. The officials went over to him to try to survey the damage, but...
Looks like there's a penalty.
Is that Caulfield that may have caught him? No, Jake Evans.
Penalty number 71, 2 minutes, high sticking.
That's the call, although both... Yeah, Tavares then ended up, once Brody was taken down with a high stick, Tavares fell over top of his own defenseman. That's why they were both sprawled in front of the Leaf goal.
First power play for either team, and the power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer.
Mitch Marner did score in the power play in Boston on Thursday night, but off the rush. That was when they had the double minor, the 4 minutes to work with. And really, the power play has not been sharp in the last 8 or 9 games.
And prior to that, it was on fire. Riley gets it ahead. Bertuzzi dropping for Nylander and Matthews, who takes a drop pass, got to the line, then lost the puck. And a break on the left wing now for Montreal. Pearson in with a shot that is blocked, and down goes the goaltender. And I think Morgan Riley's going to take a penalty here and even things up with 1:34 to go in the Toronto advantage.
At least we don't have to wait. I believe that was Joel Armia that was coming down the left wing side, and Armia ended up crashing into Ilya Samsonov, but they're going to say that, I don't know, is this interference? Or tripping? It was, again, another turnover that leads to the rush. And,
pretty good elbow that took Armia down.
Well, Armia tries to cut around, and more of a clothesline, I guess, than anything else.
Trying to protect his goaltender a little bit there.
Armia did a pretty good job of selling it, too. It was a little high, and somehow that caused his legs to straighten up. That's a veteran move.
No, but you do have an amazing repertoire with the human body and what causes what and how things can react to certain things. I'm very impressed.
Maybe if you date a little more, you could learn.
Thank you. 10:09, the time of the penalty to Morgan Rielly. So a little 4-on-4 here. But it was Matthews who was...
yeah, that was the turnover.
Yeah, brought back now by Camp. He takes a long shot that is gloved eye high by Montembeault. And he'll bring a face-off in the Montreal zone as a result. And we will step aside. The Leafs have scored in the second period to equalize the Canadiens in the first. It's 1-1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's Lainey Wilson, y'all. And as part of Women's History Month, I'm putting a spotlight on some of my country music peers.
Dive into SiriusXM's Women of Country, one of over 200 extra channels available anytime in the all-new SiriusXM app. And you can hear Women of Country now for a limited time, hosted by Grammy and CMA Award winner Lainey Wilson.
Let's do it.
On Channel 107.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The Leafs won and the Montreal Canadiens won. Second period. Both teams have taken a penalty and a face-off. Well, we're not really too sure where the penalty is. Hey, there's Harry Neal on the screen with our friend Bob Cole. Boy, they did a lot of games in Montreal, didn't they? Face-off in the Montreal zone to the right of Montembeault. Matthews scrum the draw, played it around back of the net. Nylander chases Matheson, and Matheson makes a nice spinning move and gets away from him. Brought out at center ice now. Suzuki with it in the slot area. Can't shoot it at the net, but rings the boards with it. Leafs are able to come away, and now here's McCabe with time and space coming to center, and then tried to make a little cute pass to the far side, almost had it picked off. Nylander will carry back, though. He's in over the line. Nylander with a pass into the slot, and a shot taken by Matthews was kicked away by Montembeault. Matthews again with a one-timer, easily blockered away there by Montembeault. Now Nylander coming out in front of the net, couldn't get to it. And the Canadiens, Caulfield comes back the other way against Edmondson, a shot, and that was blocked nicely into the corner by Samsonov.
Well, one-timer by Austin Matthews, not quite in his wheelhouse, and he kind of airlifted it, then a knuckleball towards the net.
Played ahead, turning up ice, Domi. He works his way to center. Max Domi, a left wing feed for Tavares. He doesn't shoot it, drops it back for Domi. Domi going wide, now going around back of the net. Chased by Matheson. Stood it up there. Believe he wasn't happy with the efforts there of one of the Canadians. And now here are the Canadiens getting it back into the Leafs zone with Suzuki. Sending it down into the corner, and the Leafs have sent it high out and down the ice. And no icing for some reason.
Montreal power play still
right, okay.
ticking down.
Just the final seconds ticking down as it's sent around the boards into the far corner. Pass intercepted by Toronto. Got ahead for the Leafs, and on the wing for Riley, who's out of the penalty box. Riley into the corner for Camp, who tried to get it in front. Yarncrook was there, but was taken down on the play. Canadiens bring it back into the Leaf zone. Hip check by Bushkin. Takes his man into the corner. Played on the backhand by Slafkovsky to the near half wall. Canadiens after it there, but the Leafs doing a decent job with Labushkin trying to free it up. It comes to the near side. The Leafs are going to get there first and Pontus Holmberg. And it's around back of the net, but now here's Gallagher trying to come out in front. And that is stopped. There's a rebound. And the puck is swept around the boards and out into neutral ice. Close call there for the Maple Leafs. And offside is called as Evans tried to break in on a return rush. 7 minutes left to play here in the second period. Game tied 1-1.
It's one of those where it's basically a 1-on-4 for the Canadiens to bring it to the front of the net, and all the Leafs kind of backed off thinking somebody else was going to be the aggressor on it. Ilya Samsonov has been forced to make a couple of decent stops. That was Brendan Gallagher that walked out of the corner.
Leafs bounce it into the Montreal zone. Jackeye turning it back. Brought out at center ice now by Montreal. And over the line comes Jake Evans. Evans holds up, gets it back to the point. Matheson to the near side. And a one-timer delivered there by Caden Gooley is swallowed up by Ilya Samsonov. Still a 1-1 tie.
It's a tough stretch for the goaltending, as we mentioned. The Leafs with 3 regulation goals in 3 games coming in, and just 1 on the board tonight. Of course, what that does is it magnifies every goal against. Where you start talking about Joseph Walsh, should he have had the breakaway by Jake DeBrusk? You know, when you're only scoring 1 or 2 a night.
Yep.
All of a sudden, every goal against becomes devastating.
Camp leaning down on that stick, taking the draw against Evans. And now he won't be taking the draw against Evans as he gets waved out. So McMahon will move in. Not sure what he did wrong, but draw scrummed, Leafs control. Played high through center ice on a bounce down into Montreal territory. Camp races down in around back of the net for Nyes. Nyes up against the end boards in the Montreal zone. Trying to kick it free for McMahon. McMahon stays off the crowd. It comes back to the blue line and just kept in then by Brody. And a hit there by McMahon. Spins.
Oh, they're going to call that a penalty?
Jake Evans around, and McMahon is looking like, really?
Wow.
Well, McMahon is going to the penalty box. I don't know if he got the knee out or not, but
or did he get the stick up? Oh, they're going to call it a bit of a trip.
Yeah.
Penalty number 74, 2 minutes for kneeing.
So the Leafs are a man short for the second time in the game, and the penalty kill is brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks.
13:48, the official time of the penalty to Bobby McMahon. Possibly the first full power play for the Canadiens. They mentioned in the last 8 games coming into this one, 1 for 20.
13. Sorry, Jim.
Yeah, I was going to say back-to-back games against Arizona and New Jersey where they did not even have a single power play.
13:48, the time of the penalty. Canadiens along the boards. Draw scrum. The puck comes free. Grabbed off by Toronto. David Camp turns it over. It's pushed into the corner then. Suzuki can't get to it, but Brody does. And with just one defenseman back on the blue line, there was plenty of room for him to get it out and down the ice. Matheson starts out. Drops the puck back. Is there a team in the league that doesn't do this entry? Is there a team in junior hockey that doesn't do this entry? The Leafs play it down into the Montreal zone. Here's the newcomer, Connor Dewar, up against the boards, trying to play it back. Does a nice job of forcing it deeper into the corner and heads to the bench. Matheson starts out for Montreal. Mike Matheson drops it back. Here's Suzuki to line in on the right side. Gave the puck away. Leafs get it back again. Played out at center ice. Too far for Pontus Holmberg to reach. Played back into the Toronto zone. Back to the blue line for Matheson. Oh, he almost got his pocket pick there. Into the corner now for Suzuki. Slid back for Matheson. Matheson walks the line. Into the corner, Suzuki. One-timer from outside. And the stick of Pontus Holmberg has sent that puck flying up into the screen and out of play.
It'll be interesting to see if Connor Dewar gets a chance on the penalty kill here. Good thing is for Pontus Holmberg to get out just 5 minutes and 23 seconds of ice time before this shift to almost 40 minutes of play. Holmberg, a pretty good job closing the gap, getting a stick on a shot that ended up sailing up over the glass.
Leafs won the draw, but then lose the puck. Canadians keep it in at the blue line. Right wing side now for Anderson. Josh Anderson into the corner. Got it returned on the near half boards. Back to the blue line it goes. Jack-Eye with a shot in traffic. Went high and wide. Batted around back of the net by Brody. Comes in front. Nylander starting out of his own zone, but he's surrounded over there. Unable to get into the zone himself. Now trying to dig the puck free, but he's managed to kill off almost the remainder of the penalty. Leafs get the puck again. Matthews playing it back into his own zone. They'll go D to D with it. And out of the penalty box now. The Leafs back, and now here's Tavares in across the line. Middle of the ice, a pass into the corner, going hard to the net. Backhand try. And that was knocked wide as McMahon had a couple of good whacks at it. Played up by Savard. He'll shoot it into the Toronto zone. 3:50 to go in the second period. And we are tied at 1. Leafs break it out with Tavares to center. Tavares in on the left wing. Yarncrook hustles in there to play it back of the net. Tavares pokes it around back of the point. Sends it back from whence it came. Riley pinches on the left side. Into the far corner for Domi. A pass in front. And Tavares couldn't get a stick on it. Riley keeps the puck in. Canadians are going to try and play it out, but it is blocked at the far boards and then just sent to the near wing, and the Leafs will go back with it. Leafs are changing. Montreal changing. Armia up for checking. Morgan Riley on the right wing side, and a bad pass made there. And Pontus Holmberg, who made the pass, has to go back into his own zone. Now a lead pass brought to the line and in. Dewar to the right wing side, pulls up, looks into the corner, kicks it free, has Holmberg in front, but goes back to the point, and Labushkin couldn't keep the puck in. He shoots it in, and the Leafs have to tag up. 2:44 to play in the second period, and a 1-1 tie.
So many stretches where it looks like the Leafs are playing with a tennis ball, isn't it? Everything's bouncing away over sticks.
There's a chance on the right side for Nylander, a shot, and again, the stick in the way to deflect that up into the screen. Out of play with the faceoff coming in the Montreal zone. It is a 1-1 tie, and you're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Today, when it comes to following sports, a basic box score just won't cut it. Get the stats behind the stats with NHL Edge. So you won't just see Makar's time on ice. You'll see where he spent it. You won't just know Matthews scored. You'll know how hard he shot it. And you won't just get OV's shot total. You'll know where he shot it from. Even if they're all from the same place. Know more about every stat, every shift, and every star with NHL Edge.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Alpine News Network is here live with one of our superheroes.
I just helped Tom with a business loan. He needed to soup up his mechanic shop. Not to brag, but I once modified a car to match my ultra speed. It went so fast, it broke the speed of sound. At least no one was inside. I hope no one was inside. I guess I'll just stick to approving business loans.
Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Fiscal license 12616.
The Leafs won and the Canadiens won. Matheson for Montreal, 38 seconds into the first period. McMahon from camp, 39 seconds into the second period. First minute of the third period is going to be dynamite.
Why is that?
Because they've scored in the first minute on the last two periods. Don't think that that's a possibility?
38, 39, so 40 seconds in?
Yeah.
But this does look like a March game where neither team is playing for a whole lot, doesn't it?
Played high to the line, kept in there by Toronto's Matthews. Bouncing puck, still free. Oh, almost batted to the front of the net, and Willie Nylander was there all alone. Leafs get it back in their own zone. A pass ahead, brought on by Nylander. He gives the puck away. Canadians are going to shoot it back into the Toronto end with 2:06 to play in the second period. Canadians get it freed up, and a shot. That was blocked in front of the net. Nylander chipping it ahead. Bertuzzi. Rink wide for Morgan Riley. He'll get it deep into Montreal territory. Matthews unable to strip the puck, and it's cleared out at center ice, forcing Morgan Riley back into his own zone. Brody trying to play it in, but Gallagher blocked his attempt. Now Gallagher is thrown to the ice by Brody. Puck, bouncing puck. He didn't see it, but it's grabbed off by Gallagher, who's going around back of the Leaf goal. And his centering pass didn't work, and the Leafs fed it out. A race for it, and Domi's got a partial breakaway. He's in a goal! Scores! Hey, Dad, how you like that one? Max Domi on the breakaway just gets it over Montembeau's shoulder and into the net.
Well, what a play this is by Kelly Yarncrook, who intercepts a pass with his left skate and then lobs one towards center ice. And Max Domi breaks through the two Montreal defenders to get there first. Doesn't pick it up until the puck is inside the Montreal blue line. But it's the middle of the ice. Domi pokes it ahead, looks up, and I think this just goes under the glove and over the left pad of Montembeau, deflected upwards to the top part of the net, and the Leafs on their 17th shot of the game have their first lead, 2-1. Kelly Yarncrook really makes this play.
Yep. Canadians get it in over the line and get a shot away, and it is swallowed up by Samsonov. As again, Mike Matheson jumping into it was Joshua Roy jumping into the rush.
The Leafs almost give it right back.
As we mentioned, Ty Domi in attendance tonight, sitting along with Knuckles Nyland. What a great nickname.
I saw there Mike Camilleri was there as well.
Yep. Shot swallowed up again by Samsonov with 1:06 to go in the second period.
I heard I don't know who it was. It might have been Keith Tkachuk or somebody along those lines talking about Chris Nyland and how important it was to have an American-born tough guy play in the National Hockey League. Where they said, you always heard about Dave the Hammer Schultz and all these guys that could scrap Tiger Williams, but Chris Nyland was really the first American pugilist.
Oh, sharp angle shot went off the shoulder of Samsonov. Pinching down to keep it in is Savard. Tried to break it out in front of the net. It goes down into the corner with less than a minute to go in the period. Long shot. That got onto the blocker of Samsonov as well, and now Nyes is able to get it out at center ice before being knocked off stride, and the Canadians have to tag up because they were offside. Joel Edmondson got it ahead. McMahon plays it in on a delay. 30 seconds left in the period. Played out at center ice. Canadians get it a little bit too far, and Morgan Riley shows you those 30-year-old legs still got a little jump to them and manages to get the icing call.
That was Nick Suzuki that he was able to beat out. Nick Suzuki, a draft pick of the Vegas Golden Knights. We've discussed this, where they've had 7 first-round picks in their brief history in the National Hockey League, only one of which is still in their system. But the way things turned out for them, why wouldn't you go all in?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know halfway through their first season, I remember talking to George McPhee in Toronto. He said that's when everything changed, where they thought they had all these veteran guys they picked up.
Now we got some shoving in front of the Montreal goal. And Savard is there with Yarncrook, but nothing is going to materialize there. But the other thing was that teams really aided and abetted all of this with the deals they made with Vegas prior to the draft and everything else, protecting players and whatnot, and the money that was being shifted around. And all of a sudden, Vegas, they have a pretty good team.
Yeah, but Vegas still had the mentality that of all these veteran guys, that would be great deadline deals for teams that were in the playoffs. And then all of a sudden, he said, wait, we're in.
We're in.
So that changed in, I think, about January, their first year in the league. Of course, they would go on to the Stanley Cup Finals, losing to Washington.
Shot by Riley, deflects wide of the Montreal goal. 12 seconds left. Liljegren in the far corner. Had to go around the boards. Trapped by Domi. Domi to the far side for Riley. He'll have to hurry. 3 seconds left. Riley coming out with a backhand. And there is the horn, and Tavares gets into it with Savard. And now Slavkovsky has got a hold of Morgan Riley. And now Domi has got a hold of Slavkovsky. Wonder if he's read the history book.
Which one is that?
I would think that Ty might have taught Max a few things.
Charlie McAvoy found that out. Now there's a Slavkovsky and Domi.
Now, which language are they talking to one another in? That would be interesting to hear that. But it appears that nothing more will come of it. We've not had a Reeves-Jackeye moment, but a 2-1 Toronto lead to go to the dressing room.
Seen number 20, and I'm thinking of Sean Monahan. When Montreal picked up Sean Monahan from Calgary, they also got Calgary's first-round pick to take the contract. Then Monahan gets traded to Winnipeg for their first-round pick. So Sean Monahan may not have a legacy with Montreal, but you never know. The two first-rounders could turn out to be.
He's going to be in the book.
Yeah.
He'll be in the book. Well, in the book here, it's 2-1 in favor of the Maple Leafs. We'll step aside. Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk coming along. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had a little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
And the Leafs fed it out. A race for it, and Domi's got a partial breakaway. He's in a goal! Scores! Hey, Dad, how you like that one? Max Domi on the breakaway just gets it over Montembeau's shoulder and into the net. 2-1 for the Leafs over the Habs after 40 minutes of play. Getting there was all the fun. TSN After 40 delivered by 241 Pizza. Get a free medium one-topping pizza with a $25 minimum purchase before tax and delivery. Online orders only. Visit 241pizza.com. Use the code FREEM for that free medium pizza. Well, Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk from the Toronto Star here. That was an interesting and impressive second period, wasn't it?
It certainly was. I mean, and interesting to me in the way it started, Jim, because we talked about how the Leafs had not started strong out of the gate off the first face-off and picked it up toward the end of the first period. But I found it really fascinating that Sheldon Keefe looked down his bench and decided to start the second period with his third line. Yeah. The David Kampf, Matthew Knies, Bobby McMahon line. And what do? 39 seconds into the frame, Bobby McMahon scores his 10th of the season, showing some chemistry with Matthew Knies out there. Two guys who had not played together at all this season. I think I should say they played together maybe for a couple of minutes, and tonight looked like they could be something going forward. That goal being the cap run, what's been a really good night so far.
Quite frankly, here's how I'm going to word this and see if you pick up on what I'm doing. The second, third, and fourth lines have looked really good.
Yes, that's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. The Matthews Bertuzzi Nylander connection, a concoction that was put together obviously with Mitch Marner being out of the lineup tonight with a undisclosed lower body injury, has not been particularly effective. You're right, but the bright side is, hey, they're getting some play from McMahon and Knies, and they got some really nice play there. How about that pass from Calle Yarncroc that up the middle, a high flip pass up the middle, the old alley-oop that goes right between the Montreal defensemen, Jaden Struble and Jordan Harris, and the great speed, the undeniable speed from Max Domi that he's always had, and, doesn't flash enough to my liking to come up the middle and get that goal that makes it 2-1 for the Maple Leafs. Great performances here by, as you point out, the lower lines for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, so, I mean, it brings you back to the 7-game winning streak when they got, the full look from everybody. Obviously, the big guns did fire, but other people chipped in. And, on that Domi goal, as he crossed the blue line, you start looking for penalty shot calls, but you didn't need it.
Yeah, I thought there might be that, right? It seemed like that was the situation. It was going to be hard to avoid the trip, but he had such great speed and a really nice shot there to beat Samuel Montembeault. Because look, I mean, Sheldon Keefe had talked about it. I mean, this has been a pretty good game for Sheldon Keefe with your main offensive igniter, or one of your main offensive igniters, and Mitch Marner out of the lineup. Sheldon Keefe says, hey, I need to move Domi to the wing. Why do I need to move Domi to the wing? Because I need more offense from my wings. What does Max Domi give you? He gives you offense. That's a little bit of coaching masterstroke here, along with pairing McMahon, Kampf, and Nyes. It's going pretty well for Sheldon Keefe to this point.
Yeah, and more specifically, wanted speed on that line, which he got in the goal. Truculence, if you will, for McMahon and Nyes on their line. And, the new guy, Connor Dewar, very noticeable and pretty well every time he's on the ice.
Yeah, he's almost not on the ice enough for my liking. I think that fourth line's been bringing some really good stuff in very limited minutes, with Dewar and Reeves especially really showing up and really showing that they can make an impact on this game. So, yeah, really, you're right. That's a great point that we didn't make in the pregame show about what was the key to the 7-game win streak that Sheldon Keefe referenced today as the template, as the model for how they want to play as they head toward the playoffs down these 19 final games. And you're right. It was about 4-line balance. It was about coming after teams wave after wave, never allowing teams to take a shift off. And it's also about exploiting the fact that you're playing against lesser opponents. And there's Max Domi, who's been as high as a second liner for the Maple Leafs. He's on the ice against Montreal's third pairing there, Struble and Harris. And what does he do? He shows that third pairings can't hang with Max Domi's speed, and blows right by him and gets the 2-1 goal.
The other guy who's really noticeable because he's just so big is Edmondson. There was a 4-on-4 play where he was directing Liljegren what to do, and he actually left the zone to follow the Montreal puck carrier. And I thought, well, this guy's got some wheels too.
He's not a bad skater. You're right. He's not a bad skater at all. There's a reason why he's been able to hang in the league as long as he has at that size. But you're right. I think, when you listen to Marty St. Louis, who obviously knows him well because Edmondson spent a lot of time in Montreal, he talked about how he's a great presence, not only with his big frame in front of the net, 6'5", a big, strong guy who can clear out the traffic, but a big presence in terms of his leadership, in terms of his dressing room presence. And you just saw it there, that dressing room presence that can transfer into, D-partner presence, help a guy like Tim Liljegren, who clearly, maybe decision-making is not yet his strength in this league. Joel Edmondson, the polar opposite, a guy who knows exactly where to be at all times on the ice. That can only benefit Liljegren. And I think the Maple Leafs have really got to hope that they find a nice combination there where Liljegren can be lifted up by Edmondson. And, of course, Edmondson lifts up everybody because he's a guy that can do something that they really haven't had in abundance.
Dave, thanks very much. So it's 2-1 for the Leafs over the Habs after 40 minutes of play. McMahon with his 10th, Domi with his 8th. Just a scintillating, to borrow a line from Danny Gallivan, scintillating drive-in and goal for the score. 2-1 for the Leafs. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've heard that sound before. A basketball going off the backboard and in. A bank shot. Well, that's actually the sound of a fan winning a Raptors jersey. That's the sound of a fan getting a signed Raptors basketball. And that's a fan scoring tickets to the NBA Finals. With the Tangerine Bank Shot contest, every bank shot the Raptors score this season wins a fan a prize. Enter for a chance to win at tangerine.ca/bankshot. Tangerine, that's forward banking.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
Break breaking story from Alpine News Network. Ron is a teacher helping bright minds, but this time he needed help. Alpine Credit sent a cosmic superhero with a debt consolidation loan. She conjured a magic book, Debt Consolidation 101. Lesson 1, consolidate debt into one low monthly payment. Lesson 2, nothing. It's a short book. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Fiscal license 12616.
Ugh, I need a vacation.
What kind of vacation?
A relaxing one.
Vacations are relaxing.
But I want one that's about peace and tranquility, where I can be one with nature. Oh, and somewhere where I can read a book without seeing someone creating one of those meme dances.
Try Cayo Largo, Cuba. It's a beautiful, secluded island with natural beauty, and it's quiet.
Oh, I like the sound of Cayo Largo. Cuba is Unica.
Book with your local travel agent or...
Looking for a simple way to reduce your monthly costs? Enbridge Gas can help with free energy-saving upgrades to keep you comfortable and saving energy year-round. If you're living on a fixed or modest income, you may qualify for our home winter-proofing program. You'll receive free insulation, draft-proofing, and a smart thermostat, all professionally installed at no cost to you. Sound too good to be true? We've already helped more than 22,000 Ontario homes save. Don't miss out. You could be next. Terms and conditions apply. See details at enbridgegas.com/winterproofing.
Step onto treadmill. Start playlist. Skip song. Skip song. Skip song. Hear your jam come on. Turn up speed. Run to the beat and feel like you're the lead in a music video. It's a treadmill workout. Join for $7.99 every 2 weeks at fitforless.ca and experience fitness simplified. Some conditions apply. Fit for less. Everybody happy.
The out-of-town scoreboard brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota. And check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. In the third period, Sharks 2-1 over the Ottawa Senators. Also in the third, Tampa 5-0 over the Flyers. Likewise, in the third period, Washington 4-0 over Chicago. After 40 minutes of play, Rangers 2-0 over the Blues. And these are done from earlier today. Sabres 3-2 in a shootout over Edmonton. Predators got by the Jackets by a score of 2-1. Kings 4-2 over the Devils. Bruins 5-1 over the Penguins. And the Panthers 5-1 over the Flames. Later on tonight, Jets in Vancouver, Detroit in Vegas, Stars in LA against the Kings. In our game, Leafs have a 2-1 lead over the Habs after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Get closer to Hollywood's biggest night on the all-new SiriusXM app. Hear all the latest Oscars predictions and previews.
Do you think it's going to clean up at the Oscars? I really think it's an incredible film.
Deep dives on the year's hottest films and exclusive interviews with nominees.
Nominated for Best Supporting Actress, Emily Blunt.
Hello.
Plus, get red carpet ready with hit fashion and pop culture podcasts.
Last night's Best Dressed list. Where should we begin?
And check back after the big night for more award season reactions. Find it all on the Talkin' Podcast page on the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on SiriusXM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen. Walks in. Put it between his legs. Shoots it. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
The Leafs carry a 2-1 lead into the third period after Matheson scored in the first for the Montreal Canadiens. Bobby McMahon, 39 seconds into the second period from David Kemp. And then Max Domi scores his 8th of the season from Yarncrook at 18:41. And the Leafs carry a 2-1 lead. They're trying to end a bit of a streak here. Yeah. The home team has won the last 12 games between these two teams.
Bizarre, isn't it? What's funny, though, when you look at some of the stats, Montreal's stat when trailing after the second period, they're 4-24-4. The Leafs, when leading after two, are 26-3-2. One of those wins in that stat, leading into the third, was the first game of the season against Montreal.
When they had to come back.
They were up 3-2 into the third, gave up 3 straight, so we're down 5-3 late. And the Leafs, Austin Matthews scored 2 goals late with the goalie on the bench, Samsonov on the bench. Mitch Marner wins in a shootout. So that nice little stat stays intact. Mm-hmm. That's a win that you held the lead into the third period, even though you ended up down by 2 late.
Which is the old adage that figures don't lie, but liars can figure, Mr. Ralph.
I figured that.
I did too. The longest streak of consecutive home team wins is the Penguins and Bruins between 2016 and 2021, where 16 consecutive games
won by the home
team. So the Leafs have a 2-1 lead on Montreal here.
One thing with the Leafs now, you've got how many games in a row that the goals scored have been off the rush. Mitch Marner's power play goal off the rush in Boston. Trying to go back to the Leafs 2-1 win over the Buffalo Sabres. But both goals, like we said tonight, so...
we're not able to hear what the referee just said.
There was a scrum at the end.
Yeah, and there are a couple of Montreal players in the penalty box.
It looks like it's John Tavares for the Leafs. And it looks like the Leafs could be on the power play here. I think it's Xhekaj and David Savard.
Well, by the look on the Montreal coach's face, Martin St-Louis, I think you're right. No, Tavares is still on the ice. Or is he being issued? No, he's being issued over to the penalty box. All right.
Yep, so it looks like the Leafs will go to the power play. Obviously, we'll be missing Tavares as well as Mitch Marner, who's not in the lineup for the Leafs tonight.
Second power play brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. And they're at center ice, getting set to drop the puck.
First power play lasted 26 seconds before Morgan Rielly took a penalty to even things up.
And the puck is dropped, and the Leafs to the left and the Canadiens to the right. And Gooley is going to send it out and down into the Toronto zone. Woo. Samsonov was stick handling with that rather large paddle, and first off, he was lucky he didn't get it in the non-trapezoidal area, but then almost gave it away. But the Leafs get it down into the offensive zone, but the Canadiens are going to snap it out and down the ice.
Like one of those table hockey players where the stick is up on a wrong angle. You got to fix him because he keeps waving over top of the puck.
Rielly to Bertuzzi. A pass to Nylander. Now to Matthews, to the line to Bertuzzi. Back to Matthews, swept around the boards. It'll find Calle Yarncrook. He was drilled into the boards there on a hit by Jake Evans. Puck goes around to the other side, and Matthews is going to track it down. Looks for Rielly, but carries down to the half boards. Now back to Rielly. Rielly with a wrist shot coming, and that deflected wide. Matthews trying to get to a loose puck on the near side. That's drawing a crowd. The puck still up against the wall. It came in front, and Nylander was just out of reach of that. Here's Willie in the far corner. Looking for a man in front. Goes back to the blue line to Rielly. Rielly walks the line. Back to Nylander. Nylander top of the circle. Down into the corner off a stick. Bertuzzi around the boards. Chipped by Matthews back to the blue line. Long shoot in. Goes into the far corner from Rielly. Grabbed off by Nylander. Centering pass in front of the net. And it didn't reach Yarncrook, but it's not cleared by the Canadiens. Leafs with it again. Nylander. Pass blocked, but gets it again. Nylander looking back towards the blue line to find Matthews. Matthews, middle of the ice. Back to Willie. Willie works off a stick, and it's poked out at center ice. And it'll be brought back into the Toronto zone and changes with 2 seconds left in the penalty coming here. Really didn't get a chance, did they? Brought on now by Brody. He'll flip it into the Montreal zone. Going back after it is Struble. Played into the near corner, stolen by Brody. A centering pass went back at the net off a stick. Brody in the far corner trying to center. Goes to Nyes. Nyes against the boards. Knocks his man down in Struble. Puck comes free. Puck trapped there by David Camp and rung around the boards to the near side. Trying to pinch to keep it in is McCabe and has. But it is poked by Montreal to center. And it'll force Camp back to retrieve it. The Leafs get it right back into Montreal territory. Around back of the net, Camp. One hands it off. Gets it back again. Puts the brakes on. McMahon unable to get out of the traffic jam there in the boards. Suzuki can't get out. Leafs doing a good job of hemming the Canadiens in, but now it's launched to center ice by Montreal. Quickly sent right back in again by Connor Dewar. He goes into the corner after it as it comes around on the left wing side for Struble. Struble will get it out. Gallagher to the Leaf blue line and in, going wide. Gallagher got around back of the net. Fed it off in the corner. Got it back along the boards, but Liljegren was there. Punched up on the wing then for Pontus Holmberg. They don't get it out. Dewar can't get it out either. Matheson at the left wing side working into the slot. And that was deflected wide of the Leaf goal. Good scoring chance for Montreal. Brody forcing it wide. Now a pass is knocked into the corner. And it'll be grabbed off by the Leafs. And Reeves will get it out. Dewar knocks his man down. Flipped into the Toronto end. Labushkin or Liljegren. A pass through center ice, but not out of the Leaf zone. Kept in by Harvey Pinard. Can't get a backhand away. Plays it around back of the net for Evans. Evans being tied up by Liljegren, who's pleading innocence to no avail. Penalty coming here to Toronto, and it'll be touched by the Maple Leafs, and Timothy Liljegren is going to the penalty box.
Jake Evans played this perfectly. As soon as he felt the arm of Liljegren, Liljegren lets go of the stick. And as soon as he feels the loose arm, Evans clamps down on it, and Liljegren's going to go, and Liljegren's taken a few too many of these penalties of late. But you can see Evans with his left arm clamps down, but this is a hold. It's that let go of the stick and reach around the shoulder, and that's where Liljegren is going to get nailed. And at 4:15 of the third period, the Montreal Canadiens will go to their second full power play.
Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. Nylander out on the penalty kill. And the draw won by David Camp. Played around into the near corner. And Willie sends the puck out into the center ice area. Canadiens with it again. Matheson dropping it back. Suzuki gets to the Leaf blue line. Lost the puck. Falling down on the play there was Camp, but the Leafs get it out into neutral ice. Matheson taking his time, waiting for players to get onside. And then a giveaway and another clear to center ice. Leafs haven't been able to ice the puck, but they've gotten it out of the zone the last three rushes. Canadiens drop it once more. Here's Suzuki coming to center. Played in on the right wing side. Down into the corner goes Slafkovsky. Played into the corner again. Slafkovsky getting it back to the blue line. Matheson back to Slafkovsky. A centering pass. Going to the net. A shot scores. The penalty to Liljegren is going to be costly. It is Newhook who gets the power play goal to tie the game at 2.
And again, much like we saw with Pavel Zacha, the Bruins, where the Leafs, they've got everything covered except the middle of the ice. And Newhook takes the puck. He has some open ice, top of the right wing circle. Not only does he have open ice, but he can corral it and then take a couple of strides toward the net. And then the perfect shot, far side, blocker side on Ilya Samsonov off the post and in. And the Canadiens have tied this game on their 23rd shot of the night.
10th goal of the season for Newhook.
Newhook actually scored in his first game as a Canadian in Toronto in the season opener.
5:05 the time of the goal.
But those are the penalties for Liljegren, Joe. Those are the ones you gotta cut out.
Domi along with Yarncrook and Tavares as it's played down into the Toronto end. Lyubushkin around back of the net to the far corner. Domi unable to get it by. Played around back of the net into the near corner. Leafs get there first with Lyubushkin, but unable to play it out. Now whack, hack, and slash. And the Leafs finally get it, and it is Morgan Rielly getting it out at center and off a stick into Montreal territory. And then almost a giveaway. Tavares overskated a puck that was completely mishandled. Leafs with a break there that doesn't get them anywhere. Edmondson to the far side in the Leaf zone. Liljegren turning back, gives it back to the new defenseman. And Joel Edmondson will hold and wait for teammates to come over the boards. Edmondson with a pass ahead. Deflected in over the line. Matthews couldn't get it. Neither could Nylander. Bertuzzi took a swipe at it. Leafs unable to get it out. Bertuzzi swinging it around back of the net. Too far for Liljegren. The pass into the near corner. Bertuzzi whacks at it, and Nylander unable to get it out. Kept in at the blue line by Caden Gooley. Now Matthews up ahead at center for Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi trying to skate in over the line, has it knocked off his stick. And the Canadiens will steer it right back into Toronto territory. McCabe taking his time coming out. Veers to the right, hits the blue line, into the slot area, trying to get for a shot, but he stick handles himself back out into neutral ice. Brody against the boards, losing it. Camp against the wall, trying to push it ahead, and it goes to Nyes, who plays it off on the left wing, and it is cleared into the Montreal zone by Brody. Leafs trying to center. McMahon against the boards. Has it come back to the blue line, but it's going to go right between the defense pair and all the way down into the Toronto end. Brody finds McCabe, and he'll get it out. But Bobby McMahon having difficulties with it. Goes to the left wing side. Brody taking his time, sends it back, but it's intercepted. Played in by Struble. Will play it around into the corner. The Leafs bank it out at center ice, but it goes off a stanchion and out of play. The faceoff coming in the Toronto zone as a result. The Canadiens have tied the game on the power play. It is a 2-2 tie. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Third period is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it.
I'm going back to double check through my notes. Alex Newhook, has scored his first goal as a member of the Montreal Canadiens in Toronto in the season opener. He had 2 that night. So of his 10 goals on the season, 3 of them have come against the Toronto Maple Leafs.
A 2-2 tie, 12:24 left third period. Camp getting lectured here by the linesman, and so is Jake Evans. And then I think he's just about had enough of both of them. Well, if anybody got thrown out, apparently not. Draw is scrummed to the far boards. It comes back to the point. Long shot, stopped. Big rebound, but cleared into the corner by Camp. Camp against the boards, being pinned there. And it is shot high off the stanchion. There's no whistle. Kept alive by Montreal. Gallagher's shot deflects into the far corner. Nyes bodies with his man in the far boards. Labushkin looks for a man and finds Morgan Riley in front of the net. And Riley carries the puck to center. He'll get it in on the right side for McMahon. A shot. Blockered away nicely there. A bouncing puck that the Leafs try to keep in. Riley against the boards for Nyes. Nyes around to the far corner. Stopped up. Had it knocked off his stick. Played off the boards then into the corner by the Leafs. Nyes trying to come up with it. McMahon wondering where that puck went. It probably went up into the screen. At least that's what we are anticipating. But a face-off coming, I believe, in the Montreal zone as a result.
Last few games, and we've seen it, it's especially noticeable offensively for the Leafs. The lack of execution, they haven't been sharp.
And the big guys haven't been scoring.
No, right? And I mean, that's, they get 2 tonight.
Yep.
But as we mentioned, just 1 in regulation, the 3 straight games coming into this one.
Draw 1 by Toronto. Riley saucers it into the corner. A shot from the angle is steered away by Montembeault. Back of the net, the puck didn't reach Matthews. And the Canadians will get it out on the wing. Hacked at and slashed at and stood up there by Liljegren. And it put the play offside.
11:18 to go. On the way for Alex Newhook. If you haven't heard enough about him yet.
Oh, you got more?
Well, 6 career games against the Leafs.
Oh, no.
No, only the 3 goals.
Oh, okay.
But all 3 of them coming in 2 games as a member of the Montreal Canadiens. So obviously did not find the scoreboard or the score sheet while playing for the Colorado Avalanche.
Draw 1 by Montreal. Poked back to the blue line. Now shot by Struble into the Leaf end. Brody taken to the boards over on the far side with Tanner Pearson. Pearson knocked Brody down. The puck comes free. McCabe takes his man in along the boards. Brody unable to poke it ahead for Domi. McCabe back in after the Canadiens player on the far boards. Ties him up. Back into the corner for Harvey Pinard. Good cycling here by Montreal. Brody ties up his man, has the puck in the skates. Tavares finally is able to dig it away. And McCabe, with a little bit of skating room, elevates the puck to center. It bounces to the blue line, but not in deep. And the Canadiens are right back the other way with a long shoot-in that is scooped aside by Samsonov. Leafs will start out. Domi comes to center. Off on the right wing side for Liljegren. Liljegren pulls the brakes on in the corner. Drops it back to the point. Edmondson's shot was blocked. Bouncing puck for Reeves. Reeves plays it down into the corner for the newcomer in Cowher, and now Dewar rather, and it's brought back out at center and shot in by Pontus Holmberg. Puck along the board's far side. Canadians get it to the line. Good play by Reeves to knock it back into the corner. Holmberg is down there centering it. Pass in front of the net. Oh, wrong guy, wrong hands. It was set up nicely for Ryan Reeves, but he couldn't pull it from his backhand to forehand and do anything with it.
Well, you like that whole sequence by the 4th line. Just dump it in and go get it.
Canadians get it out at center. Jacky in on the wing with a long shot and a pad save made there by the Leafs goaltender. And now Riley banking it off the boards to center. Stolen back by Montreal. Shot back in again. Riley around back of the net. Chipping it along the boards, it'll find Bobby McMahon. Played to an open wing. Lyubushkin got to it. Played it out at center. Pass intercepted by Toronto. And now Nyes starts out of his own end. He'll get it up on the right wing. Trying to break in now is Matthews in a goal. And that was deflected just wide. It wasn't Matthews, it was McMahon breaking in on the right side. Canadiens with a centering pass. And that didn't work. Nyes plays it around to the far side. Leafs take one of the Canadiens down, but they get the puck out at center. Nyes holding things off to try and get a change of players going. And Brody has it under control at center ice and is going to shoot it in. This time he sends it in wide of the goal. Around back of the net. Now Matthews is on the ice along with Nylander and Bertuzzi. And an icing call against Montreal coming here with 8:18 left to play in the third period.
That's the way this game is playing out right now. You hope from a Leaf standpoint you can get it to overtime, right?
Oh,
because all 4 goals have been scored at one end of the ice. That is the end that the Leafs are defending here in the third period.
8:18 to go. 26-27. Things change all the time. 27-21 shots favoring Montreal.
Shots here in the third period, just 5-2 favoring the Canadiens.
Who have scored. Now the Leafs chipping the puck in deep. Matthews goes in there after Mike Matheson. Matheson stole it away. Bertuzzi couldn't block his pass. It's cleared to center and played into the Toronto zone, forcing Edmondson back into the corner after the loose puck. And the Leafs, Liljegren gets it ahead. Matthews took a spill. I think that was just on his own. There wasn't anybody around him. Now Nylander in across the line. Looks for a right wing pass to Morgan Rielly in front of the net. The drop pass for Nylander doesn't work. And it's cleared by Montreal to center. Shot right back into the Canadian zone. Bertuzzi going in after a loose puck on the far side. And the Canadiens are able to play it around back of the net. Caden Cooley will play it up on the right wing side. Canadiens get to the Leaf blue line, chip it in over the line. Struble getting it in deep. Backhanded around back of the net. Anderson unable to come up with it for Montreal, and the Leafs outlet on the right wing side for Yarncrook. Onto the left wing side for Domi, but he couldn't handle the pass. Canadiens back in their own zone with 7 minutes to go, third period, in a 2-2 tie. Hammered around the boards by Brody. Chipped out at center ice, and the Maple Leafs are away with Tavares. On the left wing for Domi. Domi to the left wing side. A shot taken by McCann. They score! Tavares in front of the net. The save made, but the captain is there, and Johnny Toronto jams it home for a 3-2 lead.
Just the third and fourth shots for the Leafs here in the third period. But John Tavares, I don't know if he gets his stick on this, Joe. I think this is just being in the right place at the right time, as it might have banked in off Tavares' leg. But he was the Leaf that got the zone and then went to the net.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jimmy.
Does this bounce off his skate?
Off his shin pad, I think. Yeah, there's certainly no kicking motion or anything like that.
Tanner Pearson, the Montreal forward, was the one that was back tied up with Tavares in the blue paint. As Montembeault makes the save.
And once again,
blocker, but
John Tavares reaches the 20-goal plateau.
And there was a time not that long ago that you wondered if that streak was in jeopardy. So for Tavares now, that's 8 goals in his last 16 games.
So, go to the net with some enthusiasm, and good things happen. Leafs are able to get it out at center for Nyes. Nyes scooping it into the far corner for McMahon. McMahon gets it back to the point. Over it comes for Liljegren. Liljegren with a shot that was high over top of the net. Kept in at the far side by Joel Edmondson. And around the boards, a shot taken, stopped by goaltender Montembeault. On the short side now, a backhand in front of the net by Nyes is stopped on the short side by Montembeault on the far side of the crease. Now the Canadiens through center with Joel Armia. Running out of room, plays it around back of the net. Roy trying to center, goes to the far half boards. Trying to work his way around back of the net is Suzuki. He falls, but the puck comes back to the point to Matheson. Back to Suzuki. Suzuki into the slot. A shot. That was kicked away by Samsonov. Here's Matheson. He's been everywhere here tonight. And Matheson and Nyes are able to play it into the corner, and the Leafs just need to get rid of it. Edmondson taken to the boards. No call. A shot from an angle is stopped. The rebound fanned on by Montreal and now given off on the wing. And Bobby McMahon will get it airmailed to center. I don't think Joel Edmondson is hurt badly, but he was certainly...
Yeah,
referee started to put his whistle up to his mouth to stop play. Pass to the near boards. Suzuki. Back of the net, centering, and it was shot wide of the goal by Slavkovsky. Kept in at the point by Gooley. Down for Slavkovsky, back of the net. Trying to protect it there against Morgan Riley. Pass into the slot, and Morgan Riley heads up play, intercepts that, and just gets it down into Montreal territory with 4:46 to play in the third. Leafs 3 and the Canadiens 2. Canadiens have been in 36 one-goal games this year, the most anybody in the league. I'm going out on a limb here to suggest they probably lost a lot of those. Nylander unable to get the puck onto his stick. Evans plays it out into neutral ice, and it's going to be shot into the Toronto zone. Samsonov out of the cage to play it back, and Brody gets it up on the wing. Nicely played ahead then by Pontus Holmberg, and now in over the line. Reeves goes back after Jackeye, trying to get a run hit in there. That didn't work. Reeves stands his man up, plays it back into the corner. In goes Pontus Holmberg to play it around on the far side. Played back of the net. Jackeye took a run at Reeves. Reeves sends a shot towards the net, and that bounced off a body and just went wide. Good shift from the fourth line in the offensive zone. Back of the net. Dewar couldn't get it in front. Played along the boards then by Reeves. And Connor Dewar doing a nice job and heading to the bench, and the Canadiens getting the Boo-Birds out a little bit here. Brought on at center ice now by Montreal. Newhook overskated the puck. Yarncrook will bank it around the wall. Leafs trying to get it to the line and out, but don't. Canadiens with it on the far half boards. Back to the blue line, it comes to Gooley. Near side Matheson. Matheson is upended, but no penalty. Or is there?
Back official all over it. 2:59 to go, and the Canadiens, who tied the game earlier in the period with a power play goal, get a chance to do it all again. And this is Kelly Yarncrook. Gets the stick in between the legs of Matheson, and it'll be the third power play for the Canadiens.
So Yarncrook goes to the penalty box, and the Canadiens to the power play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Let's get jerseys. Let's get jerseys.
Right now, become a Tangerine client with a savings account, and you could get a free Raptors jersey.
We want jerseys.
Finally, a savings account worth cheering for.
Jerseys. Jerseys.
Find out how to score a jersey at tangerine.ca/Raptors. Tangerine. That's forward banking. Available to new clients who open and fund an eligible account while supplies last. Conditions apply.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deeks.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes.
What's up, insiders? It's TSI Mike here. Go Leafs go. We've got another great game on the tap tonight. Montreal versus Toronto. Toronto versus Montreal. Leafs, Habs, whatever. And guess what? It's hockey night in Canada. Yes, let's get it. Go Leafs go. Thanks for hanging out with us in the chat. Smash that like button down below. As well, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, if you're not subscribed already. And turn that little bell on so you don't miss it when we go live for any Toronto sports or these amazing Toronto Maple Leaf games with these best fans in hockey right here on TSI. Thanks for hanging out with us. Join our community today as an insider, only 99 cents a month. Let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go!
A man short after John Tavares from McCabe and Domi at 13-14 lifted the Maple Leafs back into the lead 3-2. Yarncrook is in the penalty box.
Smart play by McCabe as well, just throwing it into traffic. John Tavares was fortunate to have it bounce in off him, but a huge penalty kill here for the Leafs. And Kelly Yarncroc, who's been one of their best players, obviously in the box and not available to kill.
Leafs ice the puck right off the faceoff. Starting out with it is Mike Matheson. Boy, he's played a lot here tonight for Montreal. Dropping it off Suzuki and across the line for Caulfield. Back it goes to Matheson to Caulfield. Caulfield into the corner. Two Leafs arrive on the scene there. They scrum the puck along the boards. It's cleared to the line and out. And past Matheson down the ice.
Boy, that looked like it was going to be held in, didn't it?
1:25 left in the power play for Montreal. They drop it back and brought to center ice now by Suzuki. Flipped in on the right wing side. Caulfield stopping it up. Rink wide to the near side and a shot deflected in front of the net down to Samsonov. There's a rebound, but he's got it underneath him.
Boy.
Newhook was right on the doorstep, but Ilya Samsonov may have just made his best save.
He had to go quickly. I mean, this is a backdoor tap in for Slafkovsky. And Ilya Samsonov had to push from his right to his left as this pass comes from the top of the left wing circle. In fact, I don't even know, Joe, if this gets to
I think it did.
Montreal player, doesn't it?
The Montreal player, no, but it got to Samsonov. The left pad makes a great save.
Yeah, it was Caulfield, and it was actually Joel Edmondson redirected this right towards his own net. He intercepted the pass that was headed for Suzuki. Slafkovsky came in a little late as well, looking for the rebound. But this was Ilya Samsonov stopping his own man. And Marty St. Louis and the Montreal Canadiens, I believe, have called the timeout.
2:08 to play in the third period.
If that does get to Suzuki, that might have been a tap in.
Yes, it might.
So even though Edmondson kind of flirt with disaster there, trying to redirect that cross crease pass, was still at least able to deflect it into his own goaltender.
So the Leafs discussing penalty kill options here. I would think it is going to be a 6-on-4.
By the way, you asked about Montreal's record in one-goal games. Mm-hmm. Well, the Leafs are 17-3-8. In one-goal games, the Canadiens 16-10-10.
Oof. So the face-off in the Toronto zone. David Camp will take the draw. Nylander is out there with him. But they have not shown the net to be empty yet. They're waiting for the draw to be won, I'm assuming. And as they do now, I would imagine that Montembeau's headed for the bench. On the near side for Caulfield. Extra attacker for Montreal. Caulfield down into the left wing corner. Gets it returned again from Suzuki. Cuts out, down low again for Suzuki. Suzuki back to Caulfield near half boards. They play catch with it, now exchange position. Here's Suzuki for Caulfield. Caulfield back to Suzuki. Off a stick and out over the line. Driving for it there was Camp. And the Canadiens are going to have to go back into their own zone. Minute 33 left in the third. Half a minute left in the power play. Suzuki in over the line. Newhook down into the corner. Gets it back to the point. Matheson walks the line. A pass partially blocked. Matheson doesn't shoot it, neither does Suzuki. Suzuki to Caulfield, back to Suzuki. Everyone hollering for a shot. One of the Canadiens has broken his stick. And this shot ends up being deflected up into the screen. Joel Armia had to go back and get a new cue after he and Brody battled for it, and Brody snapped his stick in half, much to the chagrin of Joel Armia.
And those are usually called.
13 seconds left in the power play. 1:12 left in the third. The net empty. And welcome to the club. You're upset with the officiating, Marty Soloway. We have a rather large gathering in that club. You know, we should take dues and everything.
There's a waiting list.
Yes, there is. Backhanded down into the corner. Taken to the boards by Labushkin. Labushkin against the wall. Couldn't come up with it. Goes to Caulfield. Off a skate into the far corner. Penalty is over. Leafs now down one man. Onto the near side for Caulfield. Caulfield down low for Suzuki. Suzuki to Caulfield again. Caulfield down low. Goes exchanging with Suzuki, who takes the pass. Suzuki to the far side. They'll try the other side this time. 40 seconds left in the period. Back to the point, a shot off the side of the goal. Joel Edmondson gets a hold of it and gets it out and down the ice. It's gone wide of the net, but icing will be called against Toronto.
I thought maybe that went in off a Montreal player on the way out. And the Leafs would have been able to kill a little more time, but they're going to have to take the... Montreal's already used their timeout. But you do like this mentality, don't you, Joel Edmondson? You don't have to make a cute little play at this point.
No, it is getting out of here. 30.8 seconds left in the third. The Leafs lead 3-2. And the draw is scrum, but the Leafs don't get it out. Kept alive by Mike Matheson. Shot, and that deflected one, and the rebound is coming all the way to center ice. Leafs getting a change of a couple of players. Shot in again by Slavkovsky. Rung around the boards. The Leafs trying to get it out, and they do. Here's Yarncrook with an empty net. Down the left wing boards. Trying to center. He does, but it's knocked away before Matthews can shoot it. 4 seconds left. This one is over, and the Maple Leafs are going to end that streak by winning on Montreal ice. For the first time in 12 home games that the Canadiens and Leafs have won on home ice.
The shots on goal end up being a little respectable. 31-27 favoring the Canadiens. A big kill by the Leafs to finish this game off. They get a break. The DJ Brody was called for taking an axe to the stick of Tanner Pearson in front of the Toronto net.
Bad equipment. So
yeah,
bad equipment.
Yes.
You got to have better equipment than that, I think. Just say.
$400 for a stick doesn't go as far as it used to.
No, it doesn't. It sure doesn't.
And then you got John Tavares on the other side. Not a classic John Tavares goal, but goes to the front of the net and has it bounce in off his leg. That is, as they say, ugly enough to be a winner.
And also where John Tavares makes his life and living. In front of the net. And you're right. It wasn't artistic, but it was so John Tavares. Right?
Yeah, and a smart play by Jake McCabe. Throw it low blocker. Look for the rebound, and the Leafs were able to get it. And let's not forget Ilya Samsonov now. 12-2 in his last 14 games. As much as you want to get Joe Woll back into the rotation and healthy, we saw him, twice against the Boston Bruins this week. Ilya Samsonov, when all is said and done, could end up being the story of the year.
Well, we will be with you, but not until Thursday night when the Leafs are in Philadelphia to play the Flyers. And we will have that action for you beginning at 7 o'clock. Until then, Jim Taddy and Dave Feschuk coming your way. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Reacquaint yourself with the women that rule the rap game. Don't be a hard rock when you really are a gem, baby girl. Sirius XM's Queens of Hip Hop, a channel dedicated to the ladies who laid the foundation and those making history right now. What's up is Big Lotto. Bad chick, that could be a fantasy. Featuring commentary and hand-selected sounds from Lotto, Queen Latifah, Lady London, and more. Watch the Queen Queens of Hip Hop for a limited time on Channel 79. On now and year-round on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastion won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs win at 3-2 in Montreal. The goals to McMahon, Domi, and Tavares. We'll be back with the postgame show next. This is Montreal Canadiens Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Cooley's and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the Sirius.
What's up, Leafs fans? TSI Mike. All right, Pike. SNL reference. That's why I didn't get it. I don't watch SNL. No idea. Damn, what a night, guys. Unbelievable numbers here on the channel. Holy cow, this average view duration tonight is whoa, given the amount of views. So thank you all. What a night for the Leafs. We get it done. Not pretty, at least by the sound of things, but hey. It's 2 points. It's against Montreal. We've got the bragging rights. Prep, how you doing, Prep? Thanks for jumping on with us and hanging out with us. Appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us and not being, petty. Anyways, I'm not here to give you post-game and all that because the game was blacked out for me here in the lovely Chicagoland area. But not for long. We're setting up the new hub down in Florida. So that will come. More info on that, ladies and gentlemen. Anyways, thank you for getting us to 11.4K tonight. Let's hit it up on our way up to 12, on our way to 25, 50, and 100 when we celebrate together. First come, first serve, baby. Let's go. Go, Leafs, go. We'll see you soon. Thank you all again for your support, keeping this chat fire. My dreams came true. Everybody told me I was crazy, but I knew there were a bunch of Leafs fans that would be here. Terry Rogers with the super chat. Love it, man. Thanks for the games and the Leafs after game talk. Appreciate it, Terry. The support, guys, is huge. This is big. This all started I am a simple guy. I went out and bought a microphone for $50, started a podcast, and here we are. Now we're doing big things here on TSI. Anyways, y'all don't want to hear me. You want to hear the game. See you guys later. Peace. Good night. Thank you. See you next time.
And the Maple Leafs are away with Tavares on the left wing for Domi. Domi to
What's
the
up,
left wing side. A
Insiders?
shot taken
It's
by
TSI
McCann.
Mike here. Go Leafs, go. We've got another great game on the tap tonight.
But the captain is there, and Johnny Torado jams it home for a 3-2 lead.
His 20th of the season turns out to be the game-winning goal. Leafs win at 3-2 over the Habs in a battle right to the end. Welcome to Leafs Game Night, the post-game show. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschek from the Toronto Star, and Jimmy Ralph kind enough to hang around it. And Ralphie, that was a vintage. I mean, all those lineup changes, and they found a way. Yeah, and I mean, there were a lot of guys that struggled tonight, too. And Joe and I were talking about it more off-air between periods and before the game. This is a tired group. When you go back from the All-Star game on, the trip through Vegas, Colorado, that 4-game trip, which was difficult, and this stretch now 5 games in 8 nights. I thought you could see it, especially even starting with the game against the Rangers a week ago. that the sharpness wasn't there that we'd seen before. And I think for this group, best thing for them right now is not playing again until Thursday in Philadelphia to kind of recharge and reset and get ready. Yeah, they found a way tonight, but it wasn't. I don't know if this is going to go down as a Picasso in the Leaf history books.
Well, Ralphie, not a Picasso by any measure, but I'll tell you a guy that did not look fatigued, looked very, very sharp, and that was the goaltender, Ilya Samsonov. That's 15 games now, guys, since he came back from his, adventure being waived and not claimed and taking some time off, and he's 12-3-0 now, 29 saves tonight. I mean, this guy, 7 of his last 15 starts, he's allowed 2 or fewer goals, including tonight. Ralphie, what are you seeing from Samsonov that gives you hope that this guy could be the guy as the Maple Leafs approach the playoffs?
Well, I think, David, it's and I don't think it's really a secret to anybody that when he struggles, it's more drop and block, and he locks himself in, or he gets to the point where he starts to overplay certain plays. And when he's on, he's sort of got that calmness about him, squares up exceptionally well, no excess movement. And, the 2 shots that beat him tonight were almost perfect shots, posted in to beat him. So you just sort of see this more of an easiness in his game. And I think that's, when you see Joseph Woll is on as well, you get the same thing, where it's everything just turn, shoulder square, and set. And, you trust your instincts and your reflexes on anything that is going to be a backdoor play or a 2-on-1. So you play the shot and trust your instincts for the rest of it. And I think Samsonov's been very good at it. And like we said near the end of the game, that we'll see how this season finishes and what happens in the spring. But we may go back and say that Ilya Samsonov was really the story of the year, a guy that looked like his career might have been done. Forget Toronto, but in the National Hockey League. And, with a time to reset, he has responded. He's paid the Leafs back with their faith in him to take some time off without saying you're going to the minors and this relationship is over. So, good for both sides to have this turn out the way it has.
I couldn't agree more. And 2 Maple Leafs made their debut tonight. Dewar, I thought, played well, but learned something on the power play where he's a little soft on that goal. And Edmondson is just a big lug back there and a welcome addition. What was your take on both of them?
Yeah, Edmondson, I thought was really noticeable to it. Was not credited with an official hit, which means, stripping a player from the puck after making contact. But I think you liked him. I think you liked the size, the reach that he had in front of the net. Even, it was it ended up getting on net, but he intercepted that pass that was going from the left point to Nick Suzuki in the power play late. Edmondson got a stick on it, deflected it right into his goaltender. I thought he moved the puck well, and you had the physical element as well. So I thought he was great. Dewar, a little harder to get a read on him, although the fourth line, I thought, spent a lot of time in the offensive zone. And I think that's exactly what you want from him as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, the fourth line was really good. Tatman and I were talking about that in both intermissions. Of course, the third line was probably the story of the night. When you talk about how Bobby McMahon and Matthew Knies, I think I looked it up. They'd played together, I think, precisely 2 minutes and 37 seconds this season before Sheldon Keefe decided to put them together on the third line with David Kampf as their centerman. And it was instant chemistry and instant production with McMahon, of course, scoring the goal that made it 1-1. And I thought they were a factor all night. They had some really good chances, even on down to the third period. What did you see from that line, Ralphie, that gives you hope that could be a combination worth keeping around?
Yeah, I don't know about David Kampf as your number 3 center. I mean, there's part of you that says,
sure.
I still like Max Domi playing up the middle as opposed to the wing. But you're right. They were the best grouping on the ice for the Leafs tonight. And there must be something about the Bell Center that Matthew Knies likes. He was only played that preseason game, but you remember him and Fraser Minton in preseason scoring shorthanded and creating all kinds of chances. So
Yeah.
Matthew Knies seems to love this part of the rivalry in Montreal. But I think you've got so many forwards now. Once you get Marner back, You look at the guys that have been sitting out with Nick Robertson being sent down. Noah Gregor sits again. It's going to be interesting to see what Sheldon Keefe is going to go with. And, even the defense combinations. I know he said it was a difficult decision to set Simon Benoit tonight. But it'll be interesting to see the looks we're going to see the rest of the way. Because, well, let's face it, like usually, I think about a year ago, the Leafs were pretty much guaranteed second. And now a year later, they're pretty much guaranteed third. Doesn't look like either the Tampa Bay Lightning or Detroit Red Wings are going to be able to catch them, and Boston and Florida both win today. So it looks like that's going to be their sentence at the end of this year in their division, which is going to be third, either in Florida or Boston.
Yeah, it's interesting when you go through the trade deadline stuff. I mean, I think people wanted more, but there is a lot of variety and versatility on this roster. Where are you with what they did?
Well, it's one of the things I said to Joe. I think we did it on air as well, and I said I'm going to read you a list of names, and you tell me what they've got in common. I said, from Patrick Kane to Jonathan Toews, Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, Andrei Vasilevsky, Victor Hedman. What do these guys all have in common? They're all Conn Smythe Trophy winners.
Yeah.
With all due respect, it's not Blake Coleman. Ryan O'Reilly won it, but not with Toronto. He won it with St. Louis. The best players were the best players. And, as much as you always try to improve what you've got, the bottom line is, the legacy of this team is going to lie with the core four. Yep. And, you might be able to throw Morgan Riley in there as well. So, as much as you could say we needed this, we needed that, bottom line is your best guys have to be Conn Smythe finalists for them to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. So, and one of the things I've done is gone through the moves that have been made by Stanley Cup winners over the last few years, and there hasn't been a home run trade that has resulted in a Stanley Cup championship. It's been more little moves. We even joked with Frankie that the last year Pittsburgh won it, they got Mark Streit, Ron Hainsey, who had never played a playoff game, and Frankie Corrado. And Pittsburgh goes on to win the Cup. So it shows that
not a coincidence.
Yeah,
Phone Vegas.
Yeah, so
that's right.
That's just kind of the way I look at it. That you even look at Florida going at that run in the playoffs last year. They didn't do much during the regular season because they weren't sure if they were going to get in or not. So I'm a firm believer that you want the majority of guys to say, look, we've been here since October on this journey. Some guys have been around a lot longer. We're the ones that have to get it done. We're not waiting for the cavalry to come in and save us.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Ralphie. And that's clearly a big part of the message I think Brad Tree-Living was sending to the group is that the guys that are here and have been here the longest, they're going to be the guys that carry us over whatever finish line we're going to get to here. But we do know that they did bring in two new D. Obviously, Labushkin's been here before. You talked about the instant noticeability of Joel Edmondson on the back end. But I was curious about your feelings about how Edmondson could impact Liljegren. They were paired tonight. We know that Liljegren's kind of hanging on by a thread here. Sheldon Keefe hinted that he probably wouldn't have sat Simon Benoit if not for the fact that Liljegren shoots right and Benoit shoots left. Do you think that a guy like Edmondson, who's got all this playoff experience, a steadying force, we hear he's a very outspoken guy, although he had laryngitis tonight, do you think he could really maybe help Liljegren, who's obviously had some problems with decision-making during his career, but obviously has a lot of upside that the Maple Leafs like? And do you think that could be a pairing that could work, Ralphie?
Yeah, in theory, David, I'm with you 100% that you're saying, okay, you've got a stay-at-home guy with some toughness, with a guy that's known for puck moving, but you see Liljegren in the third period take another one of those penalties. He took two of the same penalties against Buffalo, where you lose a step on a guy, and then the hand comes off the stick and the reach around, and you're going to be penalized for it. So there are things like that I think Timothy Liljegren on the defending side of things really has to clean up and be a little better at defending that way. But after one game, I'm not 100% sold. I'm a big Simon Benoit fan, and I realize what a premium right-handed shooting defensemen are. But I do think there's something about that I love about Benoit is how he'll stand up and make hits at the blue line like Edmondson does, like we've seen Jake McCabe do this year and Simon Benoit. I mean, I like having those types of players as a former goaltender. Those are the guys you love having in front of you. You do need the Morgan Rileys and the guys that can skate the puck out of the zone or make that great 20-foot pass to get it out. But I tell you love those guys that are going to be in a foxhole with you and are going to battle with you.
So maybe one night they go 7 defensemen, 11 forwards, because you'd like to see all 7 in there.
Yeah, except, you've got something, then you've got, 2 or 3 extra forwards at this point as well. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting for Sheldon Keefe. Part of the balancing act is going to be during this stretch to the postseason, keep everybody happy, keep everybody engaged, and everybody ready. And, with the numbers, that could be a challenge.
Ralphie, thanks for hanging around. Really appreciate it.
Well, I didn't think I had to because of the time change.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's going to come real fast.
Yeah, earlier, yeah. Okay, boys. I'll text you later.
Okay, thanks. Make it fast. Okay, 3-2, the Leafs win in Montreal. And, I guess maybe when you look back on the week, just throw out the game Monday. The rest of them are okay for me.
Yeah, definitely. You throw out that game Monday because that was not a great performance. But, you had, 2 losses against the Bruins. But as we pointed out earlier on the broadcast, the second loss had some redeeming qualities to it, had some pushback, had some, staring down of the bully that is the Boston Bruins. And tonight, yeah, look, this is, we've seen it. Like they'd lost 5 straight road games in Montreal against this Montreal team that is rebuilding and is sitting in 26th in the standings in points percentage, a team they should be able to handle. And of course, what do you know? They find themselves down early when they don't really show up out of the gate, and they find themselves chasing the game in large part early on. But hey, they battled through. You got to appreciate the adjustment, the fact that they show up in the second period. That third line comes up big for them 39 seconds in. Bob McMahon gets that equalizer, and from there it was a much different game, I thought. And yeah, the first line wasn't a factor. I think it's always a good sign when you can say, hey, our depth helped us win this game. Our depth was a big reason we won this game, along with, as Ralphie points out, Ilya Samsonov, who was great again, stopping 29 of 31 for the 7th start of his last 15 where he's allowed 2 or less.
This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Sandra and Kabir are celebrating 50 years of marriage by turning their boring bedroom into a spicy one. Oh my. Alpine Credit sent a super strength hero to help with a home renovation loan. New floors, windows, a heart-shaped button that plays this tune. Okay, I think that's quite enough. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Has the everyday got you feeling a little overwhelmed? Yeah, we get it. Stop scrolling through endless cat memes and start scrolling through deals with selloutvacations.com.
Okay. Veradero's sun-kissed beaches, Havana's vibrant nights, and Cayo Largo's serenity. At what price? Cuba is única.
See? Stop feeling overwhelmed and start feeling empowered. We got deals with all the right feels.
Book in store, over the phone, or at
selloutvacations.com.
Leafs Game Night. They win 3-2 in Montreal against the Habs. The goals to McMahon, Domi, and Tavares as the Leafs head into a nice break now. They don't play again until Thursday in Philadelphia could use the rest. I just want to go back to what Ralphie said, Dave. You've got Gregor Marner, obviously, with an injury, but Robertson hanging around. I know he got sent down, but he hasn't played for the Marlies, didn't play tonight, so I just assume he's hanging around Scotiabank Arena waiting for the recall. But when you have that kind of depth, with those three guys out tonight for different reasons and different looks in the blue line, I always project into what happens when you get into that 4 out of 7 box with Boston, and there are multiple looks here.
Yeah, there really are. It's a coach's dream in a lot of ways, and health permitting, you talk about all those choices on the forward side. He's going to have just as many on the defenseman side because you had the 6 guys you played tonight. You also have Simone Benoit, who, Sheldon Keefe talked about how it killed him to have to sit Benoit in his hometown or home area. He's from Laval, Quebec, not too far from Montreal. And, of course, Marc Giordano coming back from an injury. You assume he'll be a factor at some point. Connor Timmins still a factor, I think, a right-handed shot who could be pressed into action. So, yeah, there are some options here for sure. And I think ultimately when you're coming down the stretch here, you're going to have 18 games to go when you get back to it on Thursday against Philadelphia. You want that competition. You want guys to stay hungry here. You're locked into this third position in all likelihood, which, could be a reason why it's difficult to get up for these games. But if you've got competition lower down your lineup for the ice time in the key moments as you approach the playoffs, I think that can only be a good thing for your team.
Do you think I was offside when I said 7 and 11? I think I would love to see the Leafs develop that 7 defenseman look in one game.
I like it. I'm with you. I like the 7 and 11 format. I think you wouldn't want to do it all season, but no. In small sample sizes, especially like in a game where you like Thursday, where you're coming off a 4-day rest. You're not worried about load management of your top guys, so you don't mind having to double shift a top 6 forward with the fourth line on a regular basis. Not a big deal to me, and you get to. I like the idea of getting to see more of the D in different combinations, and what better test lab than an 11-7 game?
Well, and if you've got Edmondson and Benoit in the same game, that's a physical force that I don't think they've had have they ever had that?
No, well, not in this era, that's for sure. Not that we've seen. Playing with Matthews and Marner and the core 4, and Morgan Riley is the number 1 guy, and I really like the prospect of it. You're right. It's it's funny how Ralphie talked about how Liljegren and Edmondson. See, I sort of saw Edmondson maybe could be the guy that saves Liljegren here and maybe turns his season around, because we know how close it is to the edge with Liljegren. We know, Sheldon Keefe was pretty explicit today in the morning skate press conference, talking about how, the main reason this guy's playing because he shoots right, which isn't exactly a rousing endorsement of his skill set. So
that's pretty tough, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is tough, and he went out of his way to praise Simone Benoit as he scratched him. So, yeah, it will be fascinating to see how it all shakes out here. There are going to be some tough decisions for Sheldon Keefe, but even tougher is going to be if you happen to be one of those guys on the 3rd and 4th line in the 2nd and 3rd, well, mostly the 3rd defensive pairing. It's going to be tough to stay in the lineup. You got to be sharp, and you got to play well, or there's going to be another option knocking on the door.
Any coach would love that situation, and Sheldon Keefe has it. 3-2, the Leafs win. When we come back, we'll hear from Max Domi. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
For college basketball fans, the madness is already here.
One of the best rivalries. Another instant classic.
With NCAA tournament dreams on the line, every possession matters.
Three-pointer at the buzzer for the win. It's good. It's good.
And each game is a chance to improve a resume.
Cannot overemphasize how big a win this is.
As Selection Sunday draws closer, hear all the pivotal games on SiriusXM and the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
We have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make the city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays, 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Ashton won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs game night. Jim Taddy, Dave Feschek from the Toronto Star with you. Without a doubt, the highlight goal of the night was scored by Max Domi. Nice feed from Yarncroke. And in postgame, he talks about the feed and also being impressed with his fellow teammate, Bobby McMahon.
Credit to the Habs. They came out flying, and I think we were at the best of our game early on, but we found a way, to stick with it. And obviously Sammy was great, PK was great tonight, and capitalized on some chances we had. So, a lot of resilience tonight, showed a lot of character. It was a huge win.
When the team does get scored early on, how do you flip the switch and kind of shake that one off to kind of get your game back on track?
Well, it's the NHL, right? Every team's going to score on you. It's just part of the game. It's hockey. It goes both ways, but certainly we don't want to give it up that early, but that's going to happen. It's part of the game, and I think our group showed, like I said earlier, a lot of character and resilience of fighting back and staying disciplined and staying composed, and just massive.
Is Yarncroke anticipating you getting clear to that, or
sorry?
The goal that you scored? Are you anticipating the pass when you were?
Yeah, that's like it was like the Tom Brady pass by Yarny. Might have been like a Randy Moss kind of thing, but I just took off. I know he's such a smart player and threw a area puck and had a step on the D and got a little lucky, but we'll take it.
I guess over the past few weeks as well.
He's such a horse. He works so hard. He's super dialed in. Going back to the first time I met him at training camp, he's an absolute animal in the gym, on the ice. So much power, and he's really coming into his own now. Obviously, the games he's been piecing together here speak for themselves, but he's such a big part of this team and great dude, and he deserves it all. So he's only going to get better, and big piece of our squad right now.
Max Domi, I like the point he made about the build. The first 9 minutes were all Montreal, and we can't forget they got after that goal the first minute of play, about 33 seconds in, and they owned the next 9 minutes, but the Leafs chipped away, and it was an uphill climb, but they did it.
They did. You know what? I thought, that was a great point by Max, and I really thought it started to turn there late in the first. There was a really good shift by the fourth line. Dewar, Reeves, Holmberg line. Holmberg celebrating his 25th birthday. I didn't realize there was a couple of birthday boys tonight. It was Holmberg's 25th. It was Morgan Riley's 30th. And I thought that fourth line really was a big contributing factor in starting to tilt the ice in the Leafs' favor late in the third. And then it really got off to a great start. Obviously, Sheldon Keefe, a bit of a coaching masterstroke there, looking down his bench and saying, or I guess looking around the dressing room in the first intermission and saying, first line, no, you're not starting the second period.
Yeah.
Second line, no, not you guys. Third line, you're out there to start the second period. And what do you know? Bobby McMahon scores to make it 1-1, 39 seconds in. And from there, I thought the Leafs did a great job in sticking with it, even when Montreal would equalize later and getting this win.
It is interesting that he changed all four lines and a little work on the blue line, just putting Edmondson in, but still a tough call to leave Benoit out. And after you factor all that in and throw in a pretty good performance from Sammy, there's your hockey game.
Yeah, it's so funny how we overanalyze this stuff sometimes about how, does this guy have chemistry with this guy, and is this guy this guy's never played with this guy. Well, Bobby McMahon and Matthew Knies have never played together this season. They played together for a scant couple of minutes, and tonight they look like they've been bosom buddies for years, right? Like they were connecting all over the ice. And we talked to Ralphie. Is David Kampf an ideal third line centerman long term? Well, maybe not in most people's eyes, but I'll tell you what, that Knies and McMahon pair, and Sheldon Keefe often talks about keeping pairs together. That McMahon and Knies pair, I think that showed some promise. And both of them had a lot of oomph to their game tonight. Matthew Knies, I thought, was really physical, really taking the play to the Montreal Canadiens, and obviously Bobby McMahon. He was an odd man rush machine. No better example than when he scored his 10th goal on that 2-on-1 to make it 1-1, 39 seconds into the second period.
Dave, thanks very much. I'm going to leave you with this. One line had two tough wingers on it, Knies and McMahon. That doesn't happen often.
There you go. That's what a recipe.
Yeah,
what a recipe.
Thanks a lot, Dave. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Leafs Game Night at TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Between selling, I don't think he's going to be buying a whole lot, but he could sell off 5 players. He could do some combination of buying and selling. Nick Jensen, I know that the Toronto Maple Leafs are interested in him. Edmondson is the kind of player that I think a lot of teams would love on defense. Anthony Mantha, the Edmonton Oilers, and multiple teams are interested in. They have a lot of interesting candidates to sell. It's a very weird spot. It's a really tough week of decisions for Brian McClellan.
It still, Steven, defies logic to me, and I can't wrap my head around the whole fact that this team is only 5 points out. I say only. 5 points is kind of big when you have a month and change left to go. I get that. But you're sitting at a minus 30. You've scored 158, allowed 188. I still can't get over the fact that they're actually in this thing just based on that statistic.
Right. It's been a very strange season for this team because they've gotten blitzed by a lot of teams. The Capitals have won a lot of close games, and only recently, within the last maybe 2 or 3 weeks, have they consistently been scoring goals. Alex Ovechkin finally is kind of on track. This is a team that was averaging 2.3 goals a game going into the All-Star break. And finally, they've started under Spencer Carberry a concerted effort of putting pucks toward the net, putting bodies toward the net, and scoring goals. Is that enough for them to really be in the playoff race? Who knows? The Devils certainly that loss to the Ben Affleck Ducks last night, not good for their playoff hopes. But the Capitals are strangely in kind of that mix with the Penguins, with the Islanders, the Flyers being a little bit ahead of them. But it was smoke and mirrors, I think, a little bit earlier in the season with the Capitals. But you're going to get Dick Dowd back from injury. You're going to get TJ Oshie, Martin Farivari, and these guys back from injury, and it really, to me, it's that the fact that they're in it with that kind of goal differential and the way things have gone sideways in some of these games shows how good of a coach, first-year coach Spencer Carberry has been for this group.
They need a lot to have happen for them in the next month and change to make it in. A ton of ground to make up 5 points, but still a lot of teams in front of them, and some teams will chase them as well. We'll see.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information for the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Saturday, March the 9th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 12:30 p.m., Columbus Blue Jackets take on the Nashville Predators. Blue Jackets on XM 220 Internet 928, Predators on Internet 936. 12:30 p.m., Buffalo Sabres take on the Edmonton Oilers. Sabres on Sirius 219 XM 923, Oilers on Internet 931. 12:30 p.m., New Jersey Devils take on the Carolina Hurricanes. Devils on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 937, Hurricanes on Internet 925. 3 p.m., Boston Bruins face the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bruins on Sirius and XM channels 91 Internet 922, Penguins on Internet 942. 4 p.m., Florida Panthers face the Calgary Flames. Panthers on XM 223 Internet 932, Flames on Internet 924. 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens face the Toronto Maple Leafs. Canadiens on Sirius XM channels 91 Internet 935, Maple Leafs on Internet 947. 7 p.m., San Jose Sharks face the Ottawa Senators. Sharks on XM 219 Internet 943, Senators on Internet 940. 7 p.m., Tampa Bay Lightning face the Philadelphia Flyers. Lightning on XM 220 Internet 946, Flyers on Internet 941. 7 p.m., Washington Capitals take on the Chicago Blackhawks. Capitals on XM 221 Internet 950, Blackhawks on Internet 926. 7:30 p.m., New York Rangers face the St. Louis Blues. Rangers on XM 222 Internet 939, Blues on Internet 945. 10 p.m., Vancouver Canucks take on the Winnipeg Jets. Canucks on Sirius XM channels 91 Internet 948, Jets on Internet 951. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights take on the Detroit Red Wings.